Roberto Carlos. Popped into the penalty area towards Zidane.
Nani.
Rooney! Oh, wonderful! Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli. Aguero!
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Coming to you from a live from a sunny Manchester today. It's I see lots of trending in the chat already. Hashtag Savva's fault. Get it trending across the internet. My fault that Conte left. My fault that Levy's here. My fault that Spurs can't win games of football. Of course. Three people who we should be blaming are all on the panel. Marlon from South Ucois. How are you, sir? You well?
I'm doing good. Good as I can be. Not football related, anyway.
Oh yeah, mate. Listen, I Spurs stopped worrying me years ago. This is what we do. We've got Phil. I don't know where are you in the pecking order of the Phil army? Are you second in command? Are you the third Phil? Where are you?
I don't know. There's so many of us, mate. So I don't know. Probably third, fourth, maybe. I ain't going to go too high. I know Phil P is probably the leader of the 300. So
only because he once did a famous rant and expressions caught wind of it and bigged him up. And Jack, better known as Perchy. How are you, Perchy? You well?
I'm good, mate. Apart from the football, all things are good.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, let's kick off then. Let's talk about the football. Welcome to everyone in the channel, in the chat. Hope everyone is well. Please smash that like button. Please subscribe. And if anyone does want to put the super chats in, do know that 50% of it goes to the British Heart Foundation. Guys, let's crack on. Let's crack on with. I want to say it was a terrible display. I want to say it was shocking. I want to say that I'm disgusted, but this is the norm now, isn't it, guys? Like that's Tottenham, Marlon, right? I'm not being rude. This is what we are, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. Like it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't that bad first half, but it was kind of Brentford played into our hands a little bit. I think Frank kind of got it wrong. He gave us a bit too much respect, and then when he realised, hold on, what am I doing? He made one tweak, changed the whole game. Just changed everything. So yeah, it was typical. I think every Spurs fan, even when 1-0 up, was just expecting Brentford to score. But Brentford didn't cause us many problems in that first half, and it was just down to they went a bit defensive. And Frank seems to do this against the teams with a bit more quality. He does this at Brentford. He when he plays, he tries to be a bit more. He doesn't want to concede goals, and especially without Tony, you could kind of see what he was trying. But he must have watched that first half and gone, "What am I doing? This is Tottenham. You've never played any better than they have been. Let me just go back to what I normally play when I play the other side," and it worked like a treat.
Do you think, Marlon, do you think that's the team talk when you're losing to Spurs at half time? You go into the change room and go, lads, it's Spurs. You're losing to Tottenham. What's going on here?
Coming back to that way. Everyone is going to start using Fergie on that, because it is like you just saw yesterday and it was just like, oh, okay, here we go. And for us fans, it's just like, yeah, we've seen this all before. So same old.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Phil, let me come to you. Look, as you know, first half, I was encouraged, or I don't know if it's just been that bad that first half actually made me think, oh, this has been decent. We actually looked like we were going to score goals. The front four looked like there was some good movement there. Skip and Basuma were moving the ball quickly, and I was in the group chat going, yeah, this will be 4-1. And then we did all Spursy on it, didn't we?
Yeah, it's one half FC, isn't it? Whether it's the first half or the second half, in the first half, I was impressed with the way we played. I thought Basuma was dictating the play for most of that first half, and then totally shifted in the second half. Thomas Frank made a few adjustments. They pressed us a lot more as well, and our back four can't deal with that, especially with Sanchez at the back. And they took advantage of that, and you could see that in the second half. We couldn't recover. We couldn't recover from it. we didn't make any chances in the second half, from what I can remember either. We should have killed the game off in the first half, I reckon. But yeah, it's the same old stuff, isn't it? You know, I'm just getting deflated. I'm past the angry stage now. I'm just deflated. Just want the season to end.
It kind of reminds me. There's a song by the band that's has gone completely out of my head now, and they talk about the different stages of grief, and it just feels like Spurs fans now, which is literally like, you know, you've been cheated on, you see her out with a new guy, and it's all upsetting, and then about a year later you're like, oh God, I can't believe I ever cared. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm there with Tottenham Hotspur now. Perchy, I mean, did we see Ryan Mason's naivety there? Frank changed it up, brought on Danchard, changed the way they were playing. Did we see the naivety that he didn't know what to do, or did he quite simply not have any way of changing it?
Well, no, I mean, he could have easily changed it. I think the first goal is important here. We all must have watched it and gone, and Burmo's just absolutely ripped Ben Davies here. We all looked at it and went, someone just needs to offer some security there. If it means that you play someone just a little bit deeper, just to offer like a bit of support. Nothing changes, and it's almost a carbon copy of the second goal. It's come from the same end of the pitch, and you kind of go, you're right in the sense of it's just naivety, but we didn't change anything. Like, as I said, the first half, I looked and went, if we'd have gone into that first half at 3-0 up, I'd have gone, do you know what? What a first half. I went, we were 1-0 up, and I went, do you know what? I said, I said on my stream, went, we're winning this now. We're 1-0 up. We looked so confident and comfortable. And it was just a different team that came out second half. It was like, Phil made a great point. We are one half FC. We play one half of football good, one half of the terrible. But Brentford came out second half, and I'd love to know what they said. They just went, do you know what? Why are you not running at the likes of Ben Davies here? You're going to beat him on pace here every single time. And it you know, when you see, the tactical masterclass, you hear that that sort of statement used. It wasn't really. It was just, you're quicker than him. Why are you not running at him? And they did it, and we had no answer for it. And it was like so basic. Do you know what I mean? We defend like Sunday league teams all the time. It's terrible. Yeah, it's not good at all.
I think because we're not seeing out games as much now. I can't remember the last time we actually saw our game and looked comfortable. That's playing on the players' mind now. It's like a mental thing with the players trying to get over the line and get the 3 points. And I think that's detrimental to the players in the minute, in the whole team. And it's showing in every game that we play.
But Phil, I'd say on that though, I'm more concerned that we're not winning games now, in the sense, look, I could understand it when we were maybe, let's just say it's not a target for me, but let's just say challenging for the Champions League and stuff is a target. That's what we're aiming to do. That's not my personal target, but that is what the club's target is. And I can kind of get it if at that stage we start falling apart. Well, what are we competing for now? Like, I would kind of get it if we started winning games of football now, because we've got no pressure on us. There's no pressure to win anything now. But we look terrible. Like, and when I say terrible, I don't even mean it. Like, I genuinely mean it. I said this earlier on in the season. People went to me, you're overreacting. I genuinely think we play some of the worst football in the league. Most games. I look at teams like Southampton, I even see Southampton giving it more of a go than we do most of the times, and they're already relegated. They showed more fight against Brighton today than we showed against Brentford on Saturday. It was weird.
Look, Marlon, let me come to you just before I do. Wayne Holland, big up. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Much love, my man. I hope you're feeling better soon. And your boys are in a little bit of trouble down the bottom there, aren't they, Wayne? So hopefully you can grab a result against Newcastle tomorrow and help yourselves get out of that. But don't rely on Spurs to do you a favour against Leeds next week. That's all I would say. Not rely on us. Marlon, did we look over the last sort of month? We've seen Ryan Mason, he's come out after these defeats and these bad performances, and he's kind of towing the company line. The pace needs an injection of feel good, and I want the job and all this. Have we seen in this last 6 or 7 games that he's taken the reins that there is no way at all this man could be our manager? Is there? No,
and you just have to look back at the Man United game, and you have to look at the Liverpool game. There was 2 against Manchester United. Man United ran out of steam, but he could have taken them. There was a chance, they were on the ropes. They took off Eriksen, and it was all us. And he decided to bring on Tanganga, and you're like, you've just given up. You've literally given up, and you hadn't won a game then, so it was kind of like he should have just gone for it. Like, I didn't see it. And then the Liverpool game, Lucas Moura, substitution, plays him right back. Look what happens then. He went for it. It was all going well, but then it did cost him. Yeah. And this seems to be a common pattern. And the fact he's only won 1 game says a lot. He hasn't got Bow this time to get him out of trouble. And this is this is the thing. He had Bow and Kane last time. He ain't got that. So he has shown. I thought yesterday was brave, and I thought it caught Brentford off guard a little bit. And if anybody noticed, Brentford targeted Royale and Sanchez in that first half, and realised actually that wasn't working because they've got the pace, and they went, let's go for the bit on the left hand side. And as soon as they did that, game over. Yeah. And it was so blatant to see. But Mason hasn't done anything, and look, and everyone's going, Mason's got to go learn at a lower. I think even Championship level, he is making some big mistakes, and they're like, it's coming across as Frank Lampard mistakes. And do
you think? See, Marlon, for me, I think he needs to go right to the bottom of the pyramid and learn the same way. God rest his soul, just in Edinburgh when he went to Leyton Orient. We've seen managers go right the way to the bottom, and like even Mark Hughes, who's been a Premier League manager, is the manager of Bradford City in League 2, right? I mean, Phil, let me bring you in here. Ryan Mason, I think, would that be the final nail in the coffin if he was to announce Ryan Mason as manager? Do you think that would tip fans over the edge that for some reason haven't been tipped over the edge yet?
Yeah, I mean, myself personally, I would support the club in what they do. I'll always support the club, but if they're going to put Mason as manager, then there'll be more protesters, 100%. It's not the right decision going forward. You don't see sort of a future with Ryan Mason in charge. I don't think he's got enough experience. Like you say, he needs to go through the leagues and earn his stripes that way. We need a manager that's a winning manager, but also plays attractive football and attacking football to appease the fans and get them back on the side of the club. But I think Levy and Enoch, there's no way back for them. I don't think. I think they've made so many wrong decisions, and they're backed into a corner now. And they need to make the right decisions next season, else that'll be it for them, I think.
Isn't the worry, Phil, that we're in exactly the same position as we were 2 years ago? It's almost identical. It's almost identical in terms of Mourinho went with however many games to go. Conte's gone with however many games to go. Levy came out then and was giving it the big one about, I know how you want to watch football. I know the DNA. We're going to go back to that.
Said then that 2 years ago, Mourinho, didn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely. And now he's doing it again. Now, I did a video this morning, which some people completely misconstrued, like people do. And I said, look, for me, it's not my decision whether or not it's the last chance for Levy and Enoch, because I haven't got 5 billion to buy the club. So it's not my decision, right? But he's now got the chance, hasn't he, to put this right. He's now these 2 hires have to be right.
They have to be.
They have to be right because there's no more to say. They have to be right, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, if like I say, if they get it wrong this time, there's no way back for him. I believe, and I I personally think that they will sell up eventually. There's so many fans that are turning now. There's so many chants at games, even in away games. You know, I think it's just going to get worse and worse if they don't get the decision right next season with the right manager and the right recruitment team, director of football. You know, then they're a goner in my eyes. I think because it's just going to get worse.
Absolutely. I mean, Perchy, I think, you know, I've been saying this to people, and I'm not sure if people agree with me or not, but I think we all need to strap in, because even if they get these appointments right, Perchy, right, even if they brought in the double act of Nagelsmann and Rangnick, who have worked together before, I still think this needs to get a lot worse before it's going to get better. And I think people seem to think there's going to be a magic switch, that even if you bring in the right manager and the right players, that overnight we're suddenly going to turn into this great football team. That's not going to happen, is it, mate?
No. And you know, we've spoken about this in depth and stuff, and I've said before that the next manager now, we've kind of got to, as long as it's done right, I want to, me and you've had, we debate this and we debate with people. It's all about a plan now. I would take 2 years, 3 years of pain. If it has to take 3 years of pain where we finish mid-table, but what we're seeing is we're slowly seeing an implementation of a plan, action, and a philosophy with a manager, director of football, with then Scott Munn as the chief football officer, or whatever his role is called. We get rid of these players. We start ripping, if we have to. I've said, listen, if we have to rip up contracts this summer and maybe only be able to only manage to get in 2 semi-decent players, and we've ripped up 6 contracts and got rid of 6 players that we don't want at this football club anymore. Start acting in that sense. And listen, it might take us 4 windows, may even take us 6 windows to get it completely, the whole package right. In the new manager gets 3 years to go, do you know what? We're not judging you. As long as you don't relegate us and we don't go down, we will implement this process in that sense and work a long way forward.
I completely agree with you. Sorry, go on, Marlon.
Yeah, but Levy hasn't got time now. This is it.
Yeah.
I completely agree with what you're saying, Virtue. Don't get me wrong. He'd love to take 2 or 3 years. He hasn't got 2-3 years, because we've just had the past 5 years have probably been, since Poch has left, it's probably been the worst under his reign.
But Marlon, I was just going to say, I don't think, yeah, but the problem is if what we want, and I want actual success at Tottenham, not what the board considers success. Success for them is getting Champions League money and competing at that level and just staying at that level, not actually pushing to achieve.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near
Can
that.
I ask a question, though, guys? Can I ask a question? Listen, I'm just creating debate, right? I'm just creating debate. Don't shoot me. Because that's how these things work, right? We all sit here as fans and we all do it, right? Like I'll turn around and go, oh my God, this is the last straw with Levy. This is and I was there about 15 years ago, by the way. But realistically, what does that mean, Marlon? When we say he hasn't got 2 or 3 years, he has though, hasn't he? Like in the cold light of that, unless anyone buys this club for $5 billion, he's got as long as he wants.
And do you know what? And where I kind of go against what I'm saying is, there's people backing him now, and if they're this is probably the worst part of his reign, right? And I literally can't think of any positive part of what he's doing right now, apart from the concerts and stuff and the business side, and even that's is sketchy, because when he can't even confirm Beyonce's 3rd date and doesn't get it approved by the council, you kind of think, what kind of business are you running here? Yeah. Right?
We can't even get Beyonce tickets right. Unbelievable.
Right? But I'm sitting there and I'm going, like, I was listening to Jamie O'Hara yesterday on TalkSport, and there was a fan, right? And he was saying everything that was wrong, but he was still backing Levy. And I'm sitting there going, how do you still back Levy right now? I don't get it. I literally don't get how anyone can back him right now, because even his wife yesterday, when she taps him on his leg, anyone who's married knows that is the look of, yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you know what? That's the look. That's the kind of touch on the leg I get from my missus when Newcastle were putting in their 6th goal, and she's like,
reassuring.
Not now. not now. All right, not now. But this is the thing, guys. Right? Like as I said, I've been Levy and ENIC out since God, I can't remember the exact date, since Martin Yolgate, right? If everyone will remember Martin Yolgate, right?
With you on that.
And the problem I see is this: is fans are really fickle. So those people that have slowly turned, and I've seen it this season more than any, I've seen fans slowly turn into, oh my God, actually, we're not very well run. You know, like it's a kind of, you know, a bombshell. All it takes, though, isn't it, is that he gets the manager right, gets the director of football right, and then all of a sudden it'll be, see, he loves the club. He's doing things right for us. He's going in the right direction. And this is the worry for me, lads, is that whilst I want to see that, and whilst I will say fair play, because that's your job, that's what you've got to do, nothing should take away from the fact that these guys have run this club so disastrously that 23 years into their tenure, we're seeing nothing come through the youth team. We're seeing no pathway for the youth team. We've got no strategy of signings. We've got a defence that is conceding 62 goals, and I don't believe we've done that for something like 20-odd years. 23 years of ownership, Phil.
Yeah.
And nothing's right at the club, is it? Like, there's no aspect of, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, look at to dare is to do. That's what our motto is. Yeah. That's what it's meant to be. Yeah. And it's so far away from that. I mean, like I say, Levy and ENIC have failed this club since they've been in charge. They've done their ambition was the marketing side, you know, with all the concerts and whatnot, bringing a shiny new stadium and the football facilities, and they've done really well. I can't knock them on that, but they have to be accountable for the football decisions that they've made in the last 23 years since they've been in charge, and it's coming to an end. I feel now that, you know, this has to be right. This decision next year, getting the manager right, getting the director of football right, has to be right this time. It can't be wrong this time.
Let's start on that then. Let's move in. So at the moment, the three managers that I'm seeing are favourites. It was Alonso a couple of weeks ago. He was the bookies' favourite, and then all of a sudden he announced he's staying and he's making signings like Granit Xhaka, etc. So we're looking at Slot seems to be the one everyone is talking about. That's the one that seems to be peddled the most. Nagelsmann apparently is back in the frame. And then the other one that seems to be creeping up a little bit more recently is Ruben Amorim. Do you think we're going to get one of these wrapped up the moment the season's finished, Phil? Because I've always said I think it's going to have to wait until every league is finished. I didn't believe a manager was going to come in with 5 games to go, for example.
No, it was always going to be Mason to see out the season. I think as soon as Stellini went, I thought Mason was just going to take the reign and do it until the end of the season. I don't think he was ever in the running for the job, Ryan Mason. I don't think that. Ideally, I would want a Slot out of them 3 because he plays an attacking formation which would suit our style. So the other 2 managers, Ruben Amorim. Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I know when playing Sporting, they give us a good game and they obviously beat us. But yeah, out of them 3 managers, I see Slot being the pick, really.
I mean, Perch, if we look at this, right, so Slot is, I mean, for anyone that's done their homework on him or watches Dutch football, etc., you know, Slot's done a fantastic job in his career with young players. So if you look at the age of this team that have just won the Eredivisie, 3 of his back 4 are under 22. 2 of his 3 midfielders are 21 and 22. His striker is 22. And I think the oldest player in the 11 is 27. Would our fans have the patience if he came in and starts buying 18, 19, 20-year-olds from around Europe that, let's be fair, most of our fans won't have heard of because most fans just watch the Premier League? Would our fans have the patience to realise that that's going to take a while to mould?
Probably not, but you're going to have to. As I said, like, I get people's frustrations, and listen, I completely get it. By the way, I get why people want. No. I've waited this long now. I think people completely miss the context of why I say that, though. I say it because look at the problems we've got. We haven't got a team that can go. It's not going to take one transfer window for us to all of a sudden be challenging for a top 4. By the way, betting back into the Champions League, that's not even a certain anymore. Like, let's be honest. Look at the teams in that Champions League spots. Look at Liverpool, by the way. Everyone was laughing at them earlier on in the season because they were losing. They've just gone on an 8 or 9 game winning run now. They look like they're back involved in that conversation for next season if they carry it over. It's not as simple as that. But you look at the teams in there, they're gonna strengthen. Likes of Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Man United, Liverpool, they're gonna strengthen. We're so far past. We don't even need to strengthen, by the way. We need to build a team again. We're that bad.
Yeah, it's not strengthening for us, is it? We're not.
We need to build a team.
Yeah. Even the likes of Brighton and Brentford look like they're going past us at the moment in time with the football that they're playing. We're going backwards.
Yeah.
You know.
You think about it. You think Brighton, Brentford, Aston Villa, then you've got all of the clubs above us. And Newcastle have really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons because of obviously their takeover. And I think their owners have shown our owners what to do in 18 months. And before anyone says, they're the richest owners in the country, they may well be. But since they've joined, they've spent less money than Spurs. But in the time they've joined, they've implemented a manager with an ethos, a director of football with an ethos. They've got a strategy for their signings. They play good football. They've sorted out their defence and made Champions League in 18 months.
Well, this was my question yesterday, and I asked a lot of people this. If it meant, right, we weren't going to sign any attackers or any midfielders next season, and it was going to be literally you rip up that defence and you literally do what Pep did in his first season. He went and bought £200 million worth of defenders. Would you accept that? Because we need a goalkeeper as well. So you've got the whole that core needs to be strengthened first. And would it be a case of would every fan be okay with just sort that area out and forget everything else going forward?
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I think we need to spend £200 million on top quality defenders and a goalkeeper. I feel that we've got enough going forward if we sort that back 4 out. You know, we've got a Doji coming in, which looks a good prospect. You've got Porro on the right, but you need leaders in that team. That's what we're lacking. With like certain type of defender that can lead the team. You know, we haven't got
like Newcastle.
Just quickly, sorry, can I just quickly say sorry? Lots of people are mentioning about my mic. Apologies, I am away. I'm not at home, as you can see the background. I'm in a travel lodge, and this is what I'm working with. So I do apologise. Hopefully, you can still hear me enough.
Yeah, we can hear you. It's just in and out. That's all.
In and out. Okay. Apologies, guys. Not really too much I can do about that at the moment.
Yeah.
But what I would say is this: when we chuck a number on it and we say like we need 200 million of defenders, why does it need to be 200 million? Surely, if the director of football comes in, yeah, but the thing is, if a director of football comes in and a manager like Slot, they're used to going and finding gems that are not 50 million a pop. They will go and find young defenders from across Europe that may be 15, 20 million each. So for me, I'm not so bothered about, I've said this for a long time. One thing we can't beat the owners with is that they don't spend money. They do. I think that's a narrative. I'm not saying you guys have said this, but that narrative that people say, oh, Levy and Lineker cheap. They spend it. There's just no plan. So for me, if you get in a director of football, right, I'm guessing if you look at Feyenoord's back 4, I'm guessing, and I don't know that off the top of my head, I'm guessing that between them, they didn't cost more than 30 million for that back 4.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's what I think we need, guys. Because to your point, Marlon, I would say that yes, we need a new defence. Of course we do. I think that if you get in a slot or an Amorim or an Nagelsmann, what they're going to want pace and legs across the team to press. And at the moment, if you watch us play, like yesterday was quite sad for me, watching Kulusevski pick the ball up and he couldn't run at them because he didn't have the legs. He had no pace on him. And Son even now looks like he's struggling to run at people, and Kane's not got legs. So I think that you're gonna see nearly a whole new team built cheaply. That's my feelings. Sorry, that's enough from me. But
no, I completely agree in the sense of when we talk about £200 million for defenders. I don't think we even. Do you know what we need? And he wouldn't cost 30, 40, 50 million. We need someone like a Lewis Dunk, someone of that ilk. I'm not saying him specifically, but just someone that he's a hard-nosed defender. He knows what he's doing, and he's a good standard that we need. We don't need to go out. A solid defender. We don't have that.
But Lewis Dunk's still going to cost us a bit, though. He ain't going to be cheap, busy.
But the point when we talk about the likes of £200 million on defenders, it
was more to do with Pep. That's how much he spent. No.
I know. You weren't.
It's also attracting these defenders to come to the club because it's an absolute mess at the minute. I mean, football players must think how the club is run. It must get out there to certain players and think, fucking that excuse the language. The club looks like it's going backwards. So what's so appealing about coming to Tottenham Hotspur at the minute? You know, that's
for a young player.
If you're 19, 20, playing in the Dutch league. I'm not knocking the Dutch league, but if you're 19, 20 playing in the Dutch league, Tottenham come calling for you. We are a big club in the Premier League. If it is with Slot, who's got a great name over there, they're going to want to join, right? I think the problem we have, Phil, is...
Wouldn't that depend on the fee, though? Because if, say you're right, and the young player wants to come in, but Feyenoord say, there's that 90-year-old, he's at Feyenoord, but they value him at 30, 40 million. Daniel Levy is not going to pay 30, 40 million for a 19-year-old, is he? That's the problem we've got. So it could be all well and good that the 19-year-old is good and he's good enough to come to us, but Daniel Levy has his price sets with certain, and especially ages and stuff like that. If he's looking at a 19, 20-year-old, you know full well he's not going to want to spend 30, 40 million on him.
That's why he needs to trust his recruitment team, who he gets in. And the actual manager, he needs to give the manager the full reins of the football decisions. Do you know what I mean? Bring the players in. So
I was just saying sorry. I was just going to say the person that's in charge should be Scott Munn. It shouldn't be Daniel Levy. Scott Munn's been appointed for this role. So he's the one that says yes, no, or maybe. Realistically, that's how, if we're all talking about it correctly, the pyramid is Scott Munn's at the top, the director of football that we appoint, the manager, and then the players. It should, if things are done correctly, that's how it should be. We don't do things properly at Tottenham, so I'll wait to see if it's done correctly. But that's the way I look at it. It's a pyramid. We work. That's the man that's at the top, and he's one that should be the one signing off. He gets his budget at the start of the season and plays to the budget.
I will say though, I don't think Nagelsmann's out of the question yet.
I don't either.
I think he's still he's lurking in the background, and I reckon he's just waiting for a director of football. Maybe he's trying to choose one to come in, and there's a bit of a game playing with the owners.
I tried to have this debate, Percher. You'll testify to how funny this debate was a few weeks back with me and Mr. Box Office on WhatsApp. And he was like, it's always good fun. He was like, he keeps doing a countdown of 40 days, 45 days without a manager, 50 days. And I've been saying to him the whole time, haven't I, Percher? I've been saying the whole time, we are not going to appoint a manager until the season finishes. Everyone needs to stop with this. We need a manager now. No manager is coming into Tottenham with 5 or 6 games of the season to go to join this shit show, right? Let's be fair. Chelsea are not even getting in Poch, who's available. Yeah. So I truly believe, to make this make sense for what you said, Phil, I truly believe that is what's happening. I think any manager is going to want to know, who am I reporting into? Who's the director of football? What's their philosophy? Because someone like Nagelsmann or Slot, they're not going to want to come in and then a Paratici type defensive director of football is put in place. They'll be like, what? Hang on, that's not my ethos.
Yeah, let's be honest. He's a young, up-and-coming manager that don't want to damage his reputation. Do you know what I mean? So he needs to make sure that if he's going into Tottenham Hotspur, he needs to make sure that everything's in place when he goes in. Because if he just goes in himself and then Daniel Levy's, choosing the director of football, and it just all be a mess. So he needs to do his due diligence before he goes into Tottenham Hotspur, and I think that's what's happening at the minute in the background.
Well, yeah, I mean, Perchy, one of the things we've talked about, mate, is that
Wi-Fi.
That Wi-Fi going. Yeah, you're gonna have to say that all again, mate.
Playing a guitar then, Savva, I think.
Travelodge Wi-Fi is it's £3 for 24 hours, so I can't laugh. Perchy, one of the things we've talked about before is, and I want to debate now, is the next manager that comes in. I think everyone just keeps saying, hire a manager now, hire a manager now. We should have had a plan when Conte was going. But at the same time, wouldn't we all have beat Daniel Levy over the head with it if he had made a rash appointment? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've got to be consistent. If we want the right person in, and we want them to do their due diligence, and we want them to bring in a director of football manager at the same time, then we have to accept that the manager or the director of football or both will be in jobs until the end of the season.
Sorry to jump in, Pitch. Just to caveat that though, we were when Conte left. We were actually aiming for something. Actually going for top four. We're going for Europe. If they were getting a manager in then, maybe it would have taken towards the end of the season. He had a lot of time to try. The next manager that was coming in, he had a lot of time there to sort things out, I believe.
Yeah, but Phil, but this is the thing. This is exactly my point. We're all saying, new manager should have come in then. But if the manager we end up going for is in a job, who's joining with 7 or 8 games of the Premier League to go?
Sam Allardyce.
We could have got Big Sam in. But just Phil, just to sort of, I was just going to jump in on that bit though. This is the point. I think what Sav was trying to make here, and this is the point. If we'd have gone in and just got in a manager and just got let's just use it hypothetically. Brendan Rodgers was sacked before Conte wasn't he? Right? Was Rodgers before?
Yeah,
no,
before.
After, wasn't he?
After.
Let's just use Brendan Rodgers as a prime example. Just use that one. Let's just say we sacked Conte and then we replaced him because there's a manager available straight away. Let's bring in Brendan Rodgers. Boom, job done. We brought in a manager. The same people, and Alex is a great one. Box office is great. I love him. Absolute legend, by the way. Funniest man ever. But this is the point that I say. When we go, we've had 50 days without a manager, but then we've just gone and appointed Brendan Rodgers. Does that mean then we're okay with that? Because I would have been fuming if we'd just appointed Brendan Rodgers for the fight. I know Pete, I know if he's in the chat, by the way, would have absolutely loved it. But my point being is Levy's damned if he is or damned if he isn't. He's damned if he is, damned if he isn't. If we'd appointed a manager, people would have gone, what the hell are you doing? Like, you haven't got a plan. You've just hired a manager that's available. But then we're waiting because we have an ideology on who we want in, which is right, which is what I want. That wasn't going to... For me, I didn't want us to appoint a manager between when we sacked Conte to the end of the season, because for me, the season was over anyway. The season was over, so who cares? We might as well have just waited. We might as well get it done at the end of the season, leave it with Ryan Mason. We wouldn't... When people say that we sacked Conte when we were in Champions League, I say this all the time. We were there by proxy. We were there because we played 3 games more than the teams below us. So let's.
But Europe was still on the table. European football was still on the table.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about Champions
but
League.
who wants it? But isn't this the best thing to happen to our club to not get Europe?
No, well,
I
no.
don't understand what benefit it is.
Because
what
the reason
benefit
why
is it?
the reason why, and I get why a lot of people are saying this, but one, you do have to future-proof yourself when it comes to European football and what's it called, the coefficiency stuff. You have to, right? But Daniel Levy with no European football will have an excuse, right, not to invest more into this team.
Marlon, I don't think he's got any excuses anymore.
I think he will. I think he'll have an excuse, and everyone's going, right. We need more time on the grass instead of playing midweek games, right? But
sure, we do.
But look at these last few weeks. We've been in the training pitch, and we've seen
no change. Marlon, that's skills. You can't say. Look at the last few weeks. It's hang on. It's Ryan Mason with these bad players.
Yeah,
I'm talking about if your new manager comes in season one. If the new manager comes in and buys lots of young, hungry players, all these fans that want European football, right? This is how it will go. This is the cycle of Spurs fans.
Yeah.
Everyone will moan that we didn't get Europe. Everyone will say we want European football. We'll get European football. Then when we get to midweek and we're playing European football and we have to make changes, everyone will go, we've had to rotate players and the players coming in aren't good enough and we've got knocked out of Europe. Yeah. Then when we play to the weekend and we rotate again, people will go, oh my God, don't they work on anything on the training pitch? For me, there's no guarantee benefit.
There's no guarantee that even if we're out of Europe, that it's going to change.
Yeah,
you could sit there and say, but there's no guarantee.
Marlon, I think
you look at the teams. You look at the teams that have gone out of Europe. Like you look at the Chelseas and stuff like that. They've gone and invested hard and made sure that the next season. But we're
not Chelsea.
But again,
we kind of need Europe. It's never done.
I don't see
our best league positions that we've been in Europe, not.
Yeah, but Marlon, here's a question. I will jump on the case on European football on one clause.
Yeah.
I know what I would, and you'll probably be agreeing with me why. I would if we finish in the Conference League for argument's sake. Let's just say for argument's sake we finish there on Sunday. This time next week we've qualified in 7th and we're in the Europa Conference League. For me, I wouldn't care where we finished in the league if we went in and won that tournament. However, trust me, there is a lot of fans that would go, let's get out of that tournament. It's crap. I would rather go and not bother. So, for example, I would happily not be in Europe and go and allow a whole new start to this.
Build.
Yeah, we need to build.
We can't build. Do it.
I feel that Europa League and Conference League is our level for our club at the moment in time.
I don't think we're ready for it. I don't think that is our level.
I think it's a competition that we could go far in. I really do.
Why?
Next season. If we finish sixth. I fully believe if we get the right manager, right players in the right positions, I feel that we could get a trophy on that level.
No, hang on, Phil. Right. So we're going from right now being this awful club where all the players need to be sold, new manager, new director of football. We're saying
I don't mean now. I mean next year. If we get into that.
Okay, so then we have one summer where we bring in 5, 6, 7 players, get rid of loads of players. Where's this squad depth coming from that is going to allow us to compete in Europe?
I'm talking after the transfer window when we get the players we need in the right positions. Football it can change just like that. It's a confidence game. At the end of the day, if you get the right players in, the right manager, the right structure, it can turn just like that,
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why do fans listen? I don't get it. Right, when we play European football, let's just assume it's Thursday, Sunday, just for the argument. Right, you play Thursday, depending where you are, you travel back Friday, you train Saturday, and you play Sunday. Right, so you've had one training session. Then players tend to have the Monday off if they played on the Sunday. You train Tuesday, you travel Wednesday, you play Thursday. Right, you're literally spending 2 days a week on the training ground. That's what semi-pro teams do. Now, it's okay if you're Man City, if you're Liverpool, if you're Man United, and you're just making tweaks midweek, that's fine. But don't we need a manager to come in and actually implement a philosophy, implement a plan, and have time on the training ground with their new players to get this right? What benefit is it to me as a fan? What benefit is it for me to see them playing on a Thursday night when we're just going to rotate and put in all the crap players that no one wanted anyway?
Yeah, it may be beneficial for the manager, the new manager coming in, you know, to try and build, you know. But I think Europe's our level. You know, Europa League is our level, and I think, you know, even with the team that we have now, and if we had a different manager, I feel that Europa League is our level. Champions League isn't.
We would have been knocked out of the Europa League ages ago. This team would have been knocked out a long time ago out of the Europa League.
Agreed.
I don't understand. See,
but the thing is about this question. The thing is about this question is, it could go either way. Like, we could be in Europe and we could do what Poch did when Harry Kane's and all them came through, or we could not play Europe and you've got 90 minutes to turn up on a week on a Saturday and it all works. We just don't know which way it's going to turn with the new manager, because yes, you're saying less time on the training pitch, but we just have no idea, because it could be Europe might be beneficial, it might not be. I'm waiting. I'm going to be blunt. I'm waiting for your Phil to give me a beneficial reason to playing in Europe. For me, the benefit is we're not exactly going to do, like you said, if we're going to have a season where we're going to be mediocre next year as well, and we're going to finish 11th or 12th, like you said, it takes time to build. Why not have the extra cup competitions like Seville do, where the league ain't in-house, but every year the European trophies and the cups they will try and win? Why can't Spurs be like that? So let me get this right. Let me get this right. So we're going to have a paper-thin squad, right, with new players, a new manager, a new director of football. Well, what about the youth team players coming through as well? And what youth team players are there? Then we're going to get to a Thursday night. Yeah. Hang on. We're going to get to a Thursday night, and you believe on the Thursday night we should put out our best team every Thursday? We should swap it up a little bit, and we should. So swapping it up a little bit, you think is good enough to win that cup? Well, are we not watching Spurs? Are we not seeing what's going on? If there's a big change and you're going to rip it up, you're going to have a whole brand new squad.
I'm talking about next season, us finishing sixth maybe. That's what I predict we'll finish. And then
what are you watching? What are you watching to make
no, this is after we get the players that we need in, after the transfer window in the summer, you know, with the right manager and the right players in, like I said, in the right positions.
Click like that.
It can do, Savva. It can do.
No, it
can't. Certain teams in the past have had a mare of a season, and they've had a brilliant season the next season. It has happened to certain teams, and it can. Straight off the bat, I don't.
Sam, you can't ask it.
I think it has with certain teams, and
who?
I don't know off the top. I don't know off the top of my head at this moment in time.
Because it doesn't happen.
I think it has, but it can happen with us if we get the right players in next season.
But why wouldn't we want as much time on the training ground as possible for a manager to implement their philosophy? Why do we want to play on a Thursday night where we're going to end up? What will happen? I can guarantee you what will happen. Because the same players can't play every Thursday, every Sunday, every Thursday, every Sunday. We'll get to the Thursday. You'll start seeing the Oliver Skips. You'll start seeing the Emerson Royals, the Davinson Sanchez's, and then everyone will go, "Oh my God, why are they playing?" Well, they're playing.
You're going to see a major clear out this summer, Savva. You won't see them playing.
Do you think? Sorry, Phil. Do you believe that every single player we've got is going in one summer?
No, I believe that. I believe that a lot of the players will be leaving unless it's on loan or you know, on a free and they rip contracts up. I believe there will be a major clear out. I don't know how many players it'll be, but I think there is major problems.
Okay, give me a number. Give me a number. How many are leaving? Just bear with me, guys. I'm going to play a game.
I think they'll try and get a fee for Sanchez. Whether it's going to be.
Give me a number. Give me a number. How many are leaving?
I'd say around eight players.
Right. So 8 players are going. Right. From the squad already, what is it? 25, 30? Right, 25, 30 players in our squad at the moment.
But a few more on top of that will probably be loans, you know. But I believe we'll probably get rid of 8 players, whether it's a fee or rip up contract.
Okay, so we get rid of 8 players. That still, by my reckoning, means we've still got 10 to 15 deadwood players at the club, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we've got 10 to 15 deadwood players at the club, those players are going to be the ones playing on a Thursday night. Those players play on a Thursday night. Every single fan will be on every YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
That's what we need.
Right, going. Everyone will be on those platforms going, oh, these players, why are they still at the club?
Yeah.
And then I will be there reminding everyone, hang on, you wanted Europe. You wanted the squad that big to play these games. You wanted it. What I'm proposing is why not have a year where we just settle? A year where we can just coach, train, build an 11, right? All right, I know you're gonna have substitutes, but you build an 11 that play the majority of every game on a Saturday or Sunday. Then you train in the week. Then you go again the Saturday, Sunday. I don't understand why our fans are so desperate for European football.
I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate for it this season. We aren't getting Europe this season. I'm desperate for it next season. That's what I'm saying.
So no, you're talking about the year after. Then you want to qualify.
You want to qualify next year. Is what you're saying.
That's what I've been saying.
I think we've killed some time into the show.
I'm the only one who wants Europe. I'm the only one who wants Europe next year. But but like you said, you just
not next year, the year after.
I'm sorry, Scott. Complete. The no Europe is always overrated. It doesn't help the way people think. So being in Europe helps. This is what I don't get.
We don't.
Savva, just to answer, Savva, you asked the question though, right? Because you said about the 8 or 9. So we're not going to get rid of 8 or 9, 10 players, right? If we're not, if we weren't in Europe, right? If we're in Europe, but are them players still not going to be here next year anyway? So you're still going to have to, even if there's no Europe, you're still going to have the certain 8, you know, the players that we can't get rid of, the deadwood players here next year on the grass for a week.
Yeah, but Marlon, what we've got there though is
but they don't have to play if we're playing once a week, do they?
And we've got the new manager in who spent a whole season building his ethos and his philosophy. This is all hypothetical and dreamland basis.
Yeah, because Poch was able to do it with Europe.
Here's my point about Europe. If let's just say, because the only thing we can qualify now is the Europa Conference League. So hear me out. So say we qualify for it.
Yep.
What do we expect? Because I know what's going to happen, and you know deep down what's going to happen. Because we'll get there into the group stages. We'll basically be FC Sheriff to get into the group stages for argument's sake, and then we play Vitor Pleasant or whatever they are or whatever team it is in the group stages, and then we're playing the back line will be the second goalkeeper, Tanganga at right back. Left back will be, I don't know, regular if he's not got rid of.
For the League Cup, wouldn't it be? It'll be exactly the same for the League Cup and probably the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So exactly the same.
But my point is, but is this?
So we might as well not compete in the League Cup or the FA Cup. We might as well just say to the League, we might as well go to the FA next year and go, forget that as well, because we know what players we're going to see.
But that's not the same. The difference with the League and FA Cup is the majority of the games that Premier League teams play in these early rounds will be against teams a lot lower down where you can put out those players. If you're going away,
we still can't beat Sheffield United or Forest.
But if you're going weekend, but my concern.
Look, I'm not saying your philosophy's wrong. I'm just saying I want Europe and you lot don't. I just prefer Europe.
It's not. I don't think it's right
to have Europe next season.
It's not. Sorry, Phil. It's not that I don't want. It's not that I don't want Europe, because I do. I love this club in Europe. I love going away on European trips. But here, the point being is sometimes we need to take 3 steps backwards to take 10 steps forward. I keep saying this to people. We we're so destined to be in Europe.
I don't trust this board.
Huh?
I just don't trust Levy in that to take them 10 steps back.
But the thing
I just don't trust it to happen. That's probably why. That's why I think why I want more in Europe. Because I just don't trust the board to do what you're asking. I completely love them to do exactly
and
what
one at a time. One at a time. I can't hear either of you. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. But I'd love Perchy. I'd love them to. What you're both saying, I would love in a perfect world to happen. Don't get me wrong, but I do not trust Levy in this board to do exactly what you're asking for.
But my point being is I get what you're saying, but history tells us what happens when we play in the second and third European tournament quality tournaments. We don't give a shit in it. We don't care.
Again, both sides of the club. Yeah.
What difference does it make us being in here? Listen, look at. I think we could, if hear me out. If we genuinely did qualify next week and we qualified and finished 7th above Aston Villa, hear me out. I don't think we will, by the way, because I think they won't. So this ironically could be a completely irrelevant conversation because we end up won't be there. But if we do, fine. If we go into that tournament, I expect us to challenge to win the tournament. Do I think we will? No, because I don't think that's the way we operate, and it's the biggest problem. I don't. But what I would rather do, if we're not in it, it actually gives us a better platform to progress in the league under a new manager, under a new ethos. And what Savva said is the key one: time in the training ground is more important for us next season than anything else. Literally, because you know what?
This is my point, Perchy. Surely to goodness. If we get in a manager that wants to implement a philosophy, bearing in mind we don't have one at the moment, right? Yeah. Surely it's better that they're on the training pitch midweek rather than flying here, there, and everywhere just to go out and play in these horrible grounds all across far-flung Europe, just to see players who aren't good. Like somebody in the chat just said, "What's wrong with giving Scarlett minutes and this player minutes?" Scarlett can't get into the Portsmouth team. Let's break it down. If we're being really honest about this is a kid that can't get into Portsmouth's team, and we've got fans saying, "Let's get into Europe so we can give those youngsters a game in Europe." What's the point?
And look what happened when we did give them an opportunity in Europe. By the way, we did this. By the way, these are the exact same conversations. By the way, we had under Jose Mourinho in the and by the way. Or when Nuno, by the way, when Nuno was doing this, by the way, we say, let's give Scarlett Divine XYZ a chance. Nuno did that. Look what happened. Nuno did exactly that. And we got beaten by, who was it that beat us first? Was it Vitesse first? Vitesse beat us. NS Mura beat us, by the way. We were 1-0 down to NS Mura at home and had to sub on Harry Kane to go and beat them. We did exactly the same with Vitesse, I believe, as well. We had to sub on Harry Kane to win it. And then we didn't even get out of the group. So,
yeah, but that was down to COVID.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. We lost to the fourth best team in Slovenia at their ground, and that was the reason we got knocked out. None of this COVID, because if we'd beaten Mura, we'd have gone through.
But if the last game weren't cancelled and we did win it, we don't know. Hypothetically, we still could have gone through. We don't know.
I'm sorry, that was a game we should have won.
I know
all 6
we lost
games,
to Mura,
by the way.
I know, but
we were playing Stade Rennes, Vitesse, and we played NS Mura.
Yeah, I get that, but we will never know if we would have won that last game or not.
See, but this is what you get from fans. Just quickly, sorry, this is what you get from fans. You don't build a philosophy playing games. Do you think when Pep Guardiola went to Man City that he built a philosophy during games?
No.
Do you think the way the top teams set up and play is designed during a game? You learn it on the training pitch. You don't learn it during games. You learn it on the training pitch and you implement it into games. The problem is, this is my whole point, right? I'm glad we're now on the same page, Phil, because I thought we were getting our wires crossed.
No.
If you are on the training pitch once or twice a week, right? When are we implementing anything? You're literally playing, flying. Surely this club needs just a breather and forget us fans that want to watch as many games as possible. I want to watch a club that is implementing something.
Yeah. It's
I think Europe is vanity for me at the moment for where we are.
It's more beneficial to not be in Europe next season than it would be in Europe. 100%. I believe next season, if we get sixth, I believe that's a step going forward, and I think we could build on that going on to the season after, you know. But we need to start from scratch next season. We need to just get away from Europe for one season and build from there.
I agree.
The one team I need to drop. Yeah. Sorry, I need to drop. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on. I really, really appreciate it, mate. And I'll catch up with you soon.
No problem. Cheers, guys. Perchy, as always.
Mate.
Savva, later.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Sorry, Phil, go on, mate.
Yeah, the one team I was thinking of, because that's always a bit quiet, Leicester City. They had a poor season. They were going to get relegated, and then look what they did the season after. So that's one team I was thinking of.
Yeah, I'm not
that's just a prime example of how quickly one season can change.
I know I'm not comparing us to Chelsea in it, but Chelsea are like the masters of it. By the way, I'm not saying that we're anywhere like them at all. I'm not saying that before people start thinking that, but Chelsea, when they and this is what I would say, like when Chelsea have a terrible season, what do they usually do the season after with a new manager? They usually go and win the league because they did it the season. It was the season when we came second to them under Conte when they did that 30-game winning run. They didn't have Europe. They went on and didn't have Europe.
When you look at Chelsea, you watch they've got no Europe this year. You watch if Poch goes there, which it looks like he is. You watch what he implements there.
Yep.
Right. I still feel like all of these ethoses don't just happen. You know, it's like Pep said when he went to I'm not saying we're going to be Man City, but Pep said when he went to Man City, year one's going to be tough. Year one, they have to learn how I play. And everyone said, didn't they, year one, oh, see, he can't do it over here. His football don't work. The rest is history. Look at them, right? And I'm not saying we're going to be that, but my point is this. If we bring in 7 or 8 players and we get rid of 7 or 8 players, let's say those 7 or 8 are young, hungry players that play like slots style of football. Do we really want them coming in, having to learn the Premier League, plus they're flying off all the time to go and play in Europe? I just feel like let's just reset a little bit. Let's get back. What we were talking about yesterday. Let's get back to basics.
Yeah,
basics.
I 100% agree. Yeah, it'll be more beneficial for us not to be in Europe definitely next season. Yeah, definitely. And we just need to start from scratch. You know, get the players in. We need to bed the new players in. You know, I mean, with Europe as well, it's hard to bed the players in playing 3 games a week. Do you know what I mean? So if you're just having, you know, the League Cup, FA Cup, and League just to play for, I think it's beneficial.
I just think, you know, I think a lot of people like my mate. I haven't seen Greg Spurs for ages. This is exactly the sort of thing that this club needs to change, the mindset with the fans and the owners, right? When we're talking about what's the ethos, build a team with cheap young players and get 8th, 7th, 6th. That's 300 million lost in Champions League money. Okay. So Greg, what's the alternative? Yeah. Tell me the alternative, because we are a million miles from Champions League football right now. What's the alternative? You think a new manager comes in and is and all of a sudden we're going to attract 5 or 6 top class players to get us back into Champions League in 1 year? Do we truly believe that that's going to happen, Greg? And the thing is, if fans believe that, and this is what I'm saying, and welcome Brian to the show. This is what I'm saying. Whatever happens, put aside our hate. Probably the wrong person to bring on, as I'm about to say.
Who are you talking about, Savva? Who are you talking about?
Put aside our hate for Levy for 1 minute, and we're just focusing on the manager, right? Whatever manager comes in is taking over an absolute shit show, right? And that manager, whether or not it's going to be all of our first choice, second choice, third choice, we hate him, we don't. we have got to get behind that manager and give them some time. We have got to, because at the moment, this whole merry-go-round of director of football, managers, scouts, we've got to settle and build for a few years.
No, so you're asking me.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, go for it, bro. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, listen, first of all, thank you for having me on, Savva. I think it's the first time I've been on since you've been called the Football Heritage. So it's my first time. A big up, Perch, Phil, and everyone in the chat.
Big up, mate.
Yeah, all I've got to say, listen, when the manager comes in, this has to be the right appointment. This has to be the right appointment. There's so many people who say, "Oh, this is the last chance. If he gets it wrong this time, then there's too many of them." I can't see who it's going to be. I think we're going to smash the 72 days of Nuno. Savva, I'm being serious. I just can't see after Conte a big manager or a manager who thinks, okay, I can put my blueprint on there. I think the hope of having a manager that thinks I can stamp my approval on there is gone. It's now a manager.
Why? If it is Arne Slot, whose stamp is young, hungry players, that's what he does. That's what he's always done.
Yep.
Doesn't that suit Daniel Levy down to the ground?
As
opposed to Conte, who wants Bastonis and Vardials, and isn't that perfect?
I'll change that to you one way, Savva. We've had this chat before on your channel. If that was the way, then he should have signed Luis Campos rather than Paratici as a director of football, because
sure.
That's exactly what he does. And that's exactly what suits us, and he didn't do it. I personally don't think Slot's coming. I think he's a very, very good manager. Don't get me wrong. I think he's someone that could do very, very well if given the tools to succeed at Tottenham. I just don't think he comes. I really don't.
I think it's Nagelsmann. I do. I think he's lurking in the background. I think he's going to be the next manager.
I think it's him or Slot. I think it's Nagelsmann or Slot.
I think it'll be one of them two. Yeah, agreed.
I don't agree.
You don't think it's any of them?
No, I think it's Sharkface. I think it's Brendan Rodgers.
Jesus.
Mate, honestly, there's people saying it. Now you've seen it, you won't unsee it. You won't unsee it.
What makes you think it's going to be Rodgers?
Okay. Again, the reason I'll give this is we were in this position with Conte the first time, and Pochettino, and Gattuso, and every other. I'm not going to go through the managers because I don't know how long this show's going on for, but the manager list will be about 2.5 weeks. And then what did we do? We ended up with a free Nuno Espirito Santos that was available already. And I just think you got to remember why I don't think it's Slot as well is I think it's a bit of a coincidence that the Arne Slot talk really heated up the day before a protest in the last home game of the season where he knew it was going to be toxic. Everything is so coincidental with him. It's also season ticket renewal week. So we got to get that in. And then the Nagelsmann. Oh, it's back on. It's back on. No, it's not. It's all PR spin. So listen, I've told you, Savva, you know, and I still stand by it. My number one choice is Thomas Frank. I love him. I really, really, really like him. Don't get me wrong. I think Arne Slot could do a great job. I just can't see him coming. I just can't.
Do you not think? Go on, Phil.
Can you see Kane staying if Thomas Frank come to the club?
I honestly think with Kane, it's not. I personally think with Kane, it's not to do with the manager. It's whether he wants to stay at Tottenham himself.
I agree.
I agree with that.
I think this has got. Listen, Harry Kane, he's fallen for the lines of leave. Whatever we've been here with so many managers, so many things. It's now, does he say? Like Steven Gerrard said, I'd rather win 1 trophy at Liverpool than 10 at Chelsea when he had the chance. It would mean more to him. It's just, does he make that move?
It's all right. It's all right, Gerrard saying that. Gerrard was busy.
That's a good point, Sam.
Yeah.
So you don't think any manager can influence Kane?
No. I think Harry Kane, it will be. I think with Harry Kane this summer, it will be all down to if there's someone that comes in for him or not. I genuinely think it will literally be down to
I think it's down to him.
Yeah, agreed. If Kane goes, if I want to go somewhere, for example, I think we all kind of probably all agree that he probably wants to stay in the UK, well, in England. So it would realistically be Man United or Chelsea. So
let's think about it, right? If Man United get taken over by the Qataris,
let's
be honest. What more of a statement of intent and a way to show your fans that you mean business than to go and land the best striker, other than Haaland, the best striker in the country, England's captain, and they could just turn around and go, he's got 1 year left. What do you want? 110? Boom.
Yeah.
But Harry Kane, for them, what a difference Harry Kane would make to them.
Wins in the league.
I don't think he does win in the league. I still think they're short of Man City. No, what, overtaking Man City?
I think it puts them in the conversation. Definitely, maybe they'll be much closer to Man City than like say Arsenal. I'll say this season. I think so. Genuine. I think the reason why I say that because we've had this debate before. I think Kane is a better football player than Haaland. I think we can all debate it, and so I think Kane's a better football player than Haaland. But I tell you what will the benefits of Kane going to Man United? What the difference from leaving Tottenham? The burden completely drops. At Spurs, for Harry Kane, Harry Kane knows if I have to play out of my skin to win a game of football for this football club anymore. He's the only player this season that has gone, do you know what? I have to do it. Goes to Man United, doesn't have to do that anymore. The burden for him to go and win games of football on his own is gone at Man United. And I genuinely think if he went there, he would close it down.
I disagree, Perchy. I think if he goes to Man United for £100 million, I think the burden is huge because now he's at a club where he won't have the excuse of, oh, yeah, but Spurs aren't expected to win trophies. He's at Man United playing with Casemiro, Varane, Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, Anthony, Rashford. I think the burden then is you have to win. Listen, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just to do full circle on this, Phil. I don't believe that. I think a lot of the time I hear about which manager will keep Kane. I think Kane's seen through this now. I think that Kane's worked with Jose, Conte, Poch. Like he's worked with big managers. I don't think there's a manager that comes in that he goes, oh my God, I'm staying just for this person. I think he needs to see a plan.
Yeah, he needs to see a plan. Yeah, 100%. But the plan comes with the manager as well, doesn't it? And in what kind of philosophy and how he's going to set up. So I think Kane will stay this season, and I can see him going on a free next season. To be honest with you,
right? Let's have that chat. Let's have that chat, Phil. Let me start with Brian, and let's not come back to you, Phil. If Harry Kane turns around this summer, right, and says, Daniel, I'm sure this isn't how the conversations go, but I like to think it is. Daniel,
let's all get close to the camera like you.
Huh?
I said, let's all get close to the camera like you as you're talking.
Yeah. I just wanted you to see my nice Travel Lodge bed. That's what I wanted you to be able to see.
Fantastic, brother.
Yeah, it's nice. If Harry Kane and his team turn around and go, look, we are not planning on staying. I don't care what anyone says. My opinion on this is, if he says that, Levy has to pull the plug. Levy has to turn around and go, right, all right, you're here for 1 year, but we've got a new manager, a new director of football. We need to get 90 to 100 million for you. And the new manager needs to build for the future rather than us fans worrying about one more season of 30 plus goals. That's only my opinion. What can you see him? Basically, can you see him going on a free under Levy?
Well, see, Phil, I've just had this conversation on another pod. First thing I will say is if with Kane United, it's got that Robin van Persie last season of his contract. He hasn't won anything.
Possibly.
It's got that. There's your kind of likeness to how big that transfer could be and what it could do. I've just had the question you've just asked me, Savva. What's bigger? Harry Kane going for does Daniel Levy care more about cashing in on Harry Kane on 90 million, let's say, like you said, and feeling the wrath of the Spurs fans, or does the thought of him going for free scare the shit? I mean, oh no, not free.
Yeah.
But then what you've got to remember as well, and this is the big part of it. If that was to happen, he's broken his number one promise that he made, which was when Sol Campbell left for Arsenal. He said, "This will never, ever happen again as long as I'm Tottenham Hotspur owner." And let's
But is it the same?
But no, to me, if this happens, if Harry Kane walks for free, you look
Oh,
at
for
this,
free. I see.
yeah,
Sorry.
I'm saying if he leaves it, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he sees out his contract and walks for free, I think Harry Kane leaving on a free is much bigger, no matter where he goes, than what Sol did. Listen, people will talk about Sol. Everyone knows what people think of Sol Campbell as a Spurs fan. He did the dirtiest deed of them all after promising to stay. He went, and he was successful. But to let Harry Kane slip through your fingers, the greatest one of the listen, some people will say he is the greatest player to play for Spurs, and you can't really argue with record goal scorer, what he's done. He is right in the conversation up there. He is in the Hoddle, Gascoigne, Greaves. He is in that bracket. There is a conversation to be had. So let him walk for free. Could you imagine if he does go to another Premier League team on a free and smashes Alan Shearer's record?
I think Levy is going to keep Kane at the club as long as he can, and he's going to.
Expensive.
This is the only chance he's going to get this season, or next season, sorry, to get it right, to get Kane that trophy. And this is the last straw now. Next season, he has to get it right. He has to. He's got no choice but to get it right.
You know what I can see it happening. I'm sorry, I'm just saying one thing, Punch. I can literally see it being you either sign a contract or we sell you. That's where I think we're going to go down. I think it's going to be.
I was just going to say, bro. That's what I was going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth. But I think
I've done that to Matthew as well. No, to Kevin as well.
It's all right. No, it's all right. But what I was going to say, I would love to be the fly on the wall in Daniel Levy's office because he's got to make whatever decision he makes. By the way, he will get this wrong. And when I say that, I mean it. He has two decisions. You sell if £100 million is on the table. He has to consider, do I keep or sell? I think the decision would be the right one. However much I hate to say it, you've got to take the money. If you're getting anything north of £100 million for a player that's going to be,
do you trust them to recruit in the right position?
But that's not the point.
But that's not the question I was going to say, Phil.
It's a massive point to add because if you're having 100 million for Kane, in the last decade, they haven't spent well, have they? You know, they failed in that department.
Hang on, but isn't that what the new director? But that's the point of the new director of football coming in.
But this is it. They need. Yeah.
Hang on. But for example, if we're talking about Rangnick and Nagelsmann, if you look at the signings Rangnick made for Nagelsmann when they worked together, he made phenomenal signings. Right, players that are now going for huge money across Europe. He got them in on frees, 5 million, 10 million. Right, that's the whole point of a director of football. Is that look? All I'll say is this: Harry Kane, right? There will come a point. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, a bit better now.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Travel Lodge Wi-Fi. Sorry. For me, I think if we take our Spurs hats off and take our emotions out of this, right? Let's be honest. If Harry Kane only wants to stay for one more year and it's difference between money and a free, for me, what does it matter? Let him go now. Because if we are building and we're not at rock bottom, but we're pretty close. We're at rock bottom. We're building with a new manager. Let the new manager start with tools he's going to have for the entirety of his tenure. Otherwise, what will happen is we'll start building a team. That whole philosophy and team will be changed to suit Harry Kane. And then next year, what we will actually see is the Harry Kane team rather than a team that the manager actually wants to implement. So, for example, if anyone watches Feyenoord play, they press. They press and press and press from the front. There's energy everywhere. Kane isn't that guy. Kulu is not that guy. So if you play that way, all of a sudden you lose an element of that manager's ability to do what he wants to do. So I'm not sitting here saying just sell Kane. I'm saying if Kane says he has no intention of signing a new contract, I think you've got to sell him. I think you've got
Agreed.
to, or it's negligent.
I think. I think you're muted.
You're
mate.
on mute.
Yeah, sorry. As good as Kane is, right? If he said he didn't want to be at the club anymore, the club is bigger than any player.
Agreed.
That's fact.
Yes.
So you don't need a player at the club that doesn't want to play for you anymore. It just doesn't work. So
Phil,
you'd have to cash in on him. You know,
I believe
he loves the club. I believe he does want to stay, but it has to be right this time around. You know,
agreed.
Of course.
And agreed. And I was just to sort of add on that. I think what's going to happen, there'll be what we'll call the judgment day. Is there'll be a day that goes, if you don't sign the contract on the table, Harry, we have to cash in now because there's an offer for X, Y, Z, and it will literally it'll be, if you don't sign a new contract, they'll be looking to sell you. But the thing is this is the part I wanted to put on. One thing that we have been terrible on is taking money. Hit me out. We had offers from back in the time, 60 million quid for Eric Dyer.
I agree.
Turned it down. 80 million pound for Dele Alli. Didn't take it. Just imagine, just on those two players, just imagine like
Christian Eriksen.
Eriksen was another one. But my point being is when we had players actually at our pomp, we didn't offload. I'm not here saying that we should sell Harry Kane. I'm not saying that. However, if we get, and I get the point of, I'll keep him here and let him go on a free. That's fine and all. That's all well and good. That's great. But the only way I would allow that and say that's great is if we could go and win the league next season with Harry Kane. We're nowhere near that. So what is the point of Harry? Listen, the only reason you'd want to keep Harry Kane on is to win you a title or win you a Champions League or win you an FA Cup even. We're so far from that. What difference does it make with Kane being here next season and then go at the end of it or go at the end of this season? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like,
this is the risk.
Why not take 100 mil if it's there?
Yeah, I mean, to caveat that, proud to be a Geordie's comment where he said, "What did we do with the Bale money?" You know, that's the risk side of it. That this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's for but we're talking about a player that left us. Like, how long ago did Gareth Bale leave? The thing is, we keep harping back to that. Like it's like what we do every time we're linked with a player from France. We go, oh, well, look what happened with Ndombele, and it's like, yeah, but the two things aren't linked, right? Let's be fair. In this day and age, if you get 100 million for Harry Kane, 100 million isn't a lot of money in football.
It's not.
No, not anymore. It's not anymore.
For me, it's more about if Harry Kane doesn't want to be here, but we've got a brand new manager and a brand new director of football that have to build a team. Yeah. What's the point of Kane staying for 1 year just to say, yeah, I'm going on a free? You might as well I don't care, get in a young striker, whatever the new manager wants to do and implement, do it from day one. Let's not just get all sentimental and go, oh, but let's just see Kane for 1 more year. If he's telling us, I don't want to be a part of it. And I know that hurts. I know people are like, but without Kane, we're going to do this. But guys, there's going to come a time. Sean always says it, right? There's going to come a time where Harry Kane has kicked his last ball for Spurs. And it's no different. Brian, I'll bring you in here. It's no different, this scenario, to a week before the season, Harry Kane ruptures his ligament and is out for nine months.
Yep.
Right? That's the way I'm looking at this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what we've got to look at, either way you look at this, whether Kane stays, Kane goes, we are in a big problem right now. We are in a big, big, big problem. You look at the comments Paul O'Keefe said about the rebuild, and we're ripping contracts up.
Yeah.
You start talking about, this is the bit that I don't think people are, or that rephrase that I took from it. Yeah, it's brilliant. We could be ripping up contracts, but the problem is, if we rip up contracts, let's just say we rip up, I'm just going to pick two players. Let's just say it's Davies and Sanchez. it's not them. Let's just say we rip them up. They're gone. We already need 2 quality centre backs with them in the team. If we get rid of them, so everyone's talking about ripping these contracts up. Like, we've got so many great players here that we can afford to just rip up some contracts and throw them away. We need some serious rebuild, no matter what way you do it. And then listen, whenever you talk about this with Kane, everyone, no matter what, and I do it all the time as well, we all go back to Philip Coutinho and what he did for Liverpool.
Bang on.
This is the easiest reference to do. Coutinho wanted to leave the summer before. They're like, no, not yet. We haven't got what we need. They let it go. It got to the time. Bang, 150 million. We need a world-class goalkeeper because Karius is definitely not that. And we need a world-class centre-back because we haven't got that and there are 2 problems. Bang, bang. There you go. That's 150 mil. We get 100, let's just say 100 mil. Do you have faith in that board that whoever the manager is, they'll go, right, who do you want? And if it's an 80 or 90 million pound player, spend it all on one player. We're not. We've seen it. And the reason I'll go back to what Phil said, not because with Bale, AVB didn't get the players we wanted, but what did we do? We bought 7 players. When we had Jose Mourinho in, and we had that summer where he got Doherty, Højbjerg, we bought 7 players. How many players did we buy this summer just gone? 7 players.
7 players. Yeah.
So this is the thing. Listen, if like you were saying, if we have to sell Kane, if this was the scenario, we had to sell him to use those finances to rebuild. Do we rebuild with quality or do we rebuild with quantity? And that's the issue. And when you sell Harry Kane, how many players do you buy?
To go back to Savva's point, though, you don't need to spend big to get
players
in the club. You don't. You know, as long as you've got the right scouting team. You know. Yeah.
This all comes back to the director of football, who that is. Correct. This manager. So, for example, if we're looking at Arne Slot, just for example, right? Because he's the favourite for the job. Arne Slot isn't a manager that goes out and spends big on players. Yeah. Arne Slot probably doesn't want that type of player, whereas a Jose or a Conte need that type of player because they are win now managers. Hence why I said all along Conte was never. Anyway, right? Arne Slot for me will probably go, yeah, I want, all right, if Kane's going to go, we've got to stop thinking about it of replacing Kane and talk about it as, well, we're going to have a different structure. We're going to play a different way. We'll probably end up with a playmaker as well as a forward that we don't have at the moment because Kane does both jobs. So I don't think it's like for like, the same way you were never going to replace Gareth Bale. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what people thought. When you sell a player like Gareth Bale, if there are other Gareth Bales in the world and other Harry Kanes in the world, they're not joining Tottenham Hotspur, are they?
Exactly.
Right? If there was another Harry Kane out there, he's going to Man United, he's going to Real Madrid, he's going to... So I think it's about how clever we are with this, and that is all of the grain of hope that I'm hanging on to, gents.
But
the director of football coming in.
We need to take a leaf out of Brighton's book, to be honest. I feel we need to go down that route to get
I agree.
where we want to be, you know.
But what you got to remember, Phil, if we do that, you're if you say that, if that's what you want, and I'm not just saying you, I mean Spurs fans in general.
Yeah.
People have got to remember, if you say that, we go down the Brighton model. And I was doing on TV today. We spoke about this a bit on the update that there's a couple of directors, or we want to move towards the Brentford and the Brighton model. Yeah. You've got to say, right, I'm prepared to wait 3 years to see the fruit of this labour, because we don't just hire a director of football that has that method and he comes in June or July and he goes, bang, here we go, get these players. He's going to have to spend a year finding out what the new manager wants, identifying the positions, then doing their research via the data, then bringing them in. Then you've got their settling in period and getting up to scratch. Some players will do it instantly. But if people say you want that Brighton and Brentford model, and I am one of them, and this is another reason why I want Thomas Frank, because I think he's a guy that will stay, that could build something. If Spurs fans are saying that's what I want to go down that Brighton and Brentford model, you are saying, and this is me as well, you are waiting 3 to 5 years to start bearing fruit from
Yeah,
that tree.
yeah. Personally, myself, I would be patient enough to do that, to see that happen. You know,
Me too.
As long as we're playing attractive football along the way as well, you know, that's entertaining and get the fans back on our side, and you know, get the atmosphere at the stadium again. That's the way to build going forward.
I agree. Absolutely bang on. Agree.
I've said this for ages, and Perchy, we've talked about this quite a lot. I think that the difficulty is when you look at a Brighton model, for example, their fans are patient with their model. Their fans are patient with buying unknown players, right? Because it's been in place for a while now and they trust it, right? They've got evidence that who's Matoma? Oh, but don't worry, they got it right with the last 5. I'm sure this one's the same. For us to get to that point, we need to give a director of football and a new manager, if they're joining at the same time, we need to give them a year or two to get that together.
Yep.
And that's why I think the dream for a lot of fans was Rangnick and Nagelsmann, because they don't need that. They don't need that time to get to know each other. They know each other.
But
so Rangnick knows what Nagelsmann wants.
Yeah. Everyone's. I mean, like Brighton, for example. Everyone's pulling in the same direction, you know, from the top down. Yeah. At this club at the moment, it's so toxic that from the top down, no one's pulling any direct. It's all over the shop. So if you've got that happening, then it's going to feed down to the players, and it's just going to be a mess like it is now. So we definitely need to do a Brighton model, in my eyes.
No, we do. 100%. And a great one, because I had earlier in the week, I had my mate who's a Brentford fan. It's quite good to actually sit down and actually have a chat with him on stream about their model, because it's exactly the same model, by the way. Brentford and Brighton are exactly the same thing. And I said to him, what does it feel like? Because obviously he supported them when they were down in League One and building up and stuff. He said, it didn't matter. He said it didn't matter where we were in whatever league, whatever position. They knew when this system came in, and they were one of the first teams to do it. Them and Brighton were one of the first to do it. He said we would sell our best player, and he said he went through it. And it was great. It was actually good. Go back from Tony. Can you remember all their strikers? They all went to Premier League. It was before Tony was Watkins. Before Watkins was Mopai. Before Mopai was Scott Hogan.
Ben Rama as well, wasn't it?
Ben Rama was there. He was a winger as well. And he just said, there's so much confidence that they get it right. I said, they never get it right. He said it's quite funny. They've come into the Premier League. He said, everyone's now calling Damsgaard a flop because he hasn't scored a goal or assist or anything. And he said, but as a club, we're so faithful that next season will be fine. I said, there's no worry, because he said by the end of next season, it wouldn't shock us if the likes of Aston Villa go and sign Damsgaard off us for 40, 50 million quid. He said that because that's how it works. I said, and then I talked to people. I said, why don't fans want this? Why don't they want this more? I'm not saying, because the thing is what I was saying about it. Because what we are, what we're doing is cutting out the stopgap in the middle. Does that make sense?
The problem is though, I remember last summer doing lots of shows, and if any players were suggested that weren't huge names, everyone turns their nose up. So I remember saying, I'd love a Lewis Dunk. Oh, Lewis Dunk, he's rubbish.
Yeah, exactly.
In a heartbeat.
Lewis Dunk's been one of the best centre-halves in the Premier League, right? We do it with so many, but again, it goes back to what I said. I think we've all been burnt so many times because we don't actually have a philosophy in place. Yep. If we allow a director of football, more importantly than the manager, and loads of people disagree with me on this, the philosophy needs to be set by the director of football, because in essence, a director of football should be at a club a lot longer than managers. So that person should be the one coming in, implementing the philosophy, and managers coming in should be working with him, right?
Yep, agreed.
So for me, put a philosophy in for a couple of years where people start going, oh, that makes sense. That's a Spurs signing. Because our fans have been saying for years, that's not a Conte signing. That's not a Jose signing. I don't want all of that. I don't want these quick fixes that, like, if I'll talk about Conte for 1 minute, right? Everyone thinks that I hate him. I don't hate Conte, right? He's not for me. But the whole point is, if you bring in a manager like Conte and fans say, just back him, if you actually break that down, that doesn't make sense because we're not in a position to just back him. He goes to clubs where everything's in place apart from 2 or 3 missing jigsaw pieces, right? When he comes to Spurs, you can't just go, oh, get him Bastoni and we win a league. You know, you've got to build a whole team. So that's what we need. We need a philosophy and we need to stick to it. We can't be getting on a manager's back in the next 6 months if we're not top 4. Sorry, rant over.
No, you're right. I just want to say what you're saying about when we're talking about the Brentford model. Listen, yesterday I didn't go into the game. People know what I was doing before the game. We went and watched it. I went and watched it with Crackers, actually. Top man, Crackers. Top man. Had a great afternoon with him, watching the game in a pub. Then after the result, we thought, that's it. We're going back out. We're protesting. Not with all the banners. We went with a couple of placards. And we sat right by, where that arch is to go into the main media. Anyway, doing our bit. And big Brentford fan and ex-Sky Sports, Talk Sports, Natalie Sawyer was there.
Oh, okay.
So she was with a couple of Brentford fans. We just sat there and spoke for like...
All right, just dropping some names there, Brian.
You know how big she is. She covers all the sport. And she literally sat there and was speaking with us and her friends that she was with. Wonderful people they were. And they could understand. She was like, couldn't believe what's going on with Tottenham after all these, blah, blah, blah. But when we started speaking about Brentford, and I said to her, listen, I hate to say it, but Thomas Frank is what... And she's like, no, you can't take him. Oh my! And they started speaking. And do you remember, Savva, I showed you that article about the 10 years of Brentford, how they built this, and they are a wonderfully run club. They are a wonderfully run football club. And let's face it, they are, for them, they are any Brentford fan that would have said you're going to finish in the top half of the Premier League, that you're going to be doing this and churning out players. And it's such a big up, Sean. I hope you're good, brother. We're better speak today. Let's have a call tomorrow.
Big up, Sean.
But we spoke. And Matty Hayes, big up, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brighton and Brentford. There was a statement that came out in 2000 when Levy came onto the board. Brighton were in Division 4. And look at them. And they've stuck. Yes, it's taken the time, but this is what we need to do right now as Spurs fans. Whatever's going to happen. And I mean this. The next manager that comes in has got to be given time if the results go bad. When we have a sticky patch, you look at these teams now that stick to a plan. Listen, I think people know how I feel about Levy, but if we're just stuck with Savva, again, this is something you and me have spoken about on streams together. If we're just stuck either this defensive, pragmatic manager all the way down the line, or gone with what we all wanted, the attacking football down the line, at least there's some kind of plan and identity. And then when the next manager comes in, you're like, right, it's the same thing. He should work with these players.
Yeah.
But Brentford have done this right. Brighton have done this right. And it's amazing how these small community teams or these smaller teams are doing this wonderful thing. It's incredible to see what Brentford and Brighton have done. When De Zerbi came in, I hadn't even heard of him. I had not a clue who he was. And I thought, you know what? That's going to be a huge ask to take over from Graham Potter, who was doing wonderful there.
He's done better.
Yeah. We should. Yeah.
He was doing wonderful things, Potter. All right, yes, it hasn't worked for him, but they were big shoes to fill with some, and he has taken it and run. And why? Same philosophy, same methods, just using the same players in a different. That's what's doing it.
Director of football stays, the club philosophy. See, more than director of football, I would like Spurs to have a philosophy as a club that isn't here for one manager. It's here for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Just quickly, I want to read out a comment, right? Because this sort of comment drives me balmy. Greg Spurs saying, Savva, you mentioned Conte. You always said you hated his style. Yeah, I did. But how many Inter games have you watched? I watch every league across the world, mate. Don't even try that one. That's his style. And he wanted to stay here and build that system over time. Right, Greg, we have this conversation all the time. If he wanted to stay and build this over time, one, he wouldn't have signed an 18-month contract. And two, he wouldn't have basically been begging in every press conference to get the sack. Right? I'm sorry, but no matter whether you like Conte, you didn't like Conte, the man was asking every interview, wasn't he? He was going at the board. He was saying this. If it doesn't take a genius to work out, Greg, that he didn't want to be here, and he didn't want to be here and build his philosophy over time, because his philosophy, he's never built that philosophy over time anywhere. Sorry, as you were, guys. It frustrates me.
I feel we should have gone down the Brighton route before Jose. I feel we were on the decline after Poch left. I feel we should have done that at that time. And we've just plummeted ever since. You know, we've got Jose in, we've got Conte in, and they're managers that need to win now, and we didn't have the squad or the first team to fit their styles of play, and that's why we've gone downhill since. You know, and we need to stop that. You know, them sort of appointments now, and do a Brighton or Brentford model.
Well, Phil, the other reason you got to look like that is when players look to come into Tottenham this summer, whoever it may be, player in the Portuguese league coming up, someone from the Premier League, someone from Serie A. One of the first things that people are going to talk about is this manager going to be the manager at the end of the season? Who am I signing for?
Yeah.
Because you look at it, true fact, we have not had a manager complete a full season since Poch.
It's not consistent, is it?
So any player that comes in, it's got to be a question now. Who am I signing for? If this one goes, are they playing the same style of football? Will I still be?
Yeah.
Will my attributes still work for the next? It's a huge question right now. There's any player coming in, even if we go down this method, it's okay. They're going down this method, but are they going to stick to it? That's the kind of issue we're at the moment.
Mm. And is Levy prepared to do that? You know, that's the question.
Yeah, sorry,
But
guys, the one thing I would say, and I'm not sticking up for Levy here at all, right? I'm not. You know how much I hate him, right? But I think we're at the stage now where, for years we've said, well, as long as he gets top 4, he'll be all right. I think we're at the stage, and I think looking at him, he realizes this now. We've fallen so far in such a short space of time that no manager is coming in and getting fourth. I don't care what anyone says. There are so many better teams that, again, will strengthen massively this summer. Yep. So I think that now he's got no option but to implement a plan, because
hit the nail on the head there.
The days of let me get a Jose or a Conte to just quick fix, paper over cracks and get top 4. I think he realizes, we're nowhere near that. And I think he gets fans not on side. I don't want to say that because I don't want him here, but I think a way he can start to try and repair some of the damage he's done for 23 years is to put the director of football and the manager in place that play the football we want to play, and then we don't hear his name.
Bang on.
He just sits back. Right? That he just sits back and we all go, we can see what we're doing here. All right, we're not winning every game, but we can slowly start to see in each game, all right, we didn't win today, but I like what we did. I like that, right? That's where I think we are as a club. Will Daniel Levy change his spots? I tell you, the only reason I say yes, guys, the only reason I say yes is the man loves money. And now he sees we are a million miles away from Champions League football. He's got to do something. Yeah.
Champions League was his golden nugget, wasn't it?
Of course.
That's what he was striving for every single year, and that's what the target was for the club. And now that has gone so far away from that. Now he's backed into a corner, and he has to get things right from going forward. Now he has to do it.
He has to, does he? I'm sorry.
I think he has no other option now. I don't think he has any other option.
I don't know what option he's got, Brian.
Listen, like I said, at the moment, I don't trust Daniel Levy to tell me the time. Nothing he says.
No, I get that.
Nothing he says, nothing he does. I've said, and I've said it to Sean Butler, I've said it to Matty Hayes, I've said it to anyone that knows it would take 5 years of consistently backing a manager, 5 years of consistently seeing progress, 5 years of us competing in domestic cups, 5 years for me to even question has he changed, because we've been let down so many times. I just
Brian, I agree with you. You know I do.
Yep.
But for the short term, he is here, or for the long, he is here at the moment, right? So in the first instance, we've got to just get these first 2 appointments right?
Yep.
Because what we cannot do is, after that interview again of, I promise that we're going to start playing football that's going to make everyone want to come and watch, be attracted, whatever he said. If he then went and done another Nuno type thing, or Conte or Jose, I think he realises that I'm done. I think he realises that sitting there watching him, normally he looks smug. I saw for the first time yesterday when he was in the stands, I saw a very worried man, which is good for 2 reasons. 1, you're going to change, or 1, you're going to sell, or 2, you're going to sell, right? Hopefully it's 2, but if it's not, at least Levy, give the manager and director of football that play the way we want to see as fans, and start to repair the damage that you've done year in, year out. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Do you know the best way to have done it, or make a start at least? And Paddy said it in his comment. Where's the apology in the end of season address? His end of season address is another PR bullshit thing where he goes, "We've tried to deliver this and they have failed to it." Not we, they. Let's get behind Mason, and I think the women's manager's name was Vicky. I think
Vicky Jepson. Yeah.
Vicky, yeah. Let's get behind them. What? Because you put them in the. We've ended the season with no manager, no assistant manager who was the manager that got sacked. Just the things he said, and he goes, the whole club have felt can tell you're frustrated, and we feel that it's. If he'd come out and gone, do you know what? We screwed up. When Steve Hitchin with Villa, we're going back to the DNA of attacking football. Let's bring in Nuno, Jose, Conte, 3 defensive-minded managers. Everything it's just.
He don't help himself, does he?
Yeah,
he don't help himself one bit.
Like I said, for all the goodwill, what you've just said about maybe very funny, Matt. What you have said that maybe and Perchia and Phil, that he's been backed in the corner and this time he has to do it. Maybe that is correct.
Yeah.
Maybe that is totally and utterly bang on the money, and he's going to do it. I just don't think he will, because of what I've seen.
Yeah,
I think he's been so comfortable with Tottenham getting top 4 in the past how many years, and now all of a sudden we're so far away from that now. I think he's absolutely shitting himself. And
I tell you what,
there's no other option but to do this now.
I think for the last however many years, you've had Lloris in his prime, Son in his prime, Kane in his prime.
Yeah.
Before that, Walker, Rose, Dembele. I think now, when you look at that team, I don't even think Daniel Levy's stupid enough to look at that team and think this manager will get me top 4. I think he will look at that now and go, "Oh, this isn't good, is it?" And one thing Daniel Levy loves more, like people in the chat are saying he won't change because of his ego. One thing that he likes more than his ego is revenue, and he won't want to be out of Europe's top competition for too long. And I think he realizes that if he continues like this, I see Spurs down where Palace are next season.
Yep, agreed.
But just playing devil's advocate here as well. If we end up going back to top 4 and we keep getting top 4 again, is it going to be exactly the same as what it was? Back to when we were getting top 4 regularly. So. Leopards don't take us what.
Phil, I wouldn't worry. I can't see us getting top 4 for years, mate.
but just to sort of allude on things.
No, I can see us getting top 4 for ages, Phil.
Yeah. Sorry, just to jump in, just something that Savva alluded to earlier. watching it on the telly, I tell you what, and Sam, you made the point earlier. He wanted the ground to eat him up. He did not want to be sat there at all. When the third goal, Sav, you obviously watched on telly as well as me. So when it panned to him and his wife is basically like stroking his leg, he looked like I'll be honest, he looked like a broken man. He was a man that went, I'm in the mire here. And listen, that's great, by the way. It's what we want. And this is where I kind of want to be positive and go, you're right. He must now know he has to go a different route because there's no other. And you're right. The one thing he likes more than his ego is his money. And he can't keep going back to the board and going, here, guys, I made you a load of money because we're not in the Champions League anymore. And it will be, as you say, we won't be in the Champions League for a very long time. And fans have to get used to that, by the way. That's another thing. We're not in any conversation. We weren't in it last year, and we were all people thinking we're going to sign Vardials and Bastonis. We're nowhere near that now. I think people need to remember that now. We're nowhere near those sort of signings. I'm hearing fans thinking that we're going to sign Iammic Laporte in the window. Get your heads out of the clouds, guys. We're nowhere near that.
I've seen fans, Perchy, saying, "Oh, we should be rivaling Arsenal for Declan Rice."
Yeah, like, we're nowhere near that.
In what world are we? But this is the thing. Last summer, we went through this, guys. All of last summer, the whole fan base was like, "We've got to get Bastoni. We've got to get Vardial." And you're sitting there thinking, "In what world are these players coming to us?"
Yeah,
but you can't just go from being a club like Spurs to how we've been run to then going and cherry picking top players across Europe to give to Antonio Conte. It doesn't happen. So for me, I'm fully prepared, and I'm prepared next year. As I've said, I don't care where we finish in the league next year, as long as on the pitch I can see some green shoots, right? Yeah. As long as I can see a philosophy, as long as we go, oh, I like what he's doing there, or the 4 or 5 youngsters he's brought in. How well did they do this year? Let's do the same again in the next window. That's enough for me at the moment. But it will be the fans that go, we have to win a trophy. Yeah, that's long gone. Don't be thinking about winning trophies. We're miles away from that. We've got to go, and I don't know what you think about this, Brian. We need to go back to basics. Like, I mean basics for learning how to defend, learning how to take corners, like everything. We need to go back to basics.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it on my channel. I've said it on wherever I go. At the moment, I don't care about anything until Levy. The sole thing I care about in this football club right now is getting them out, because I just have a feeling that
are you leaving out?
No way.
Do you know what? I had that you were going to crack my code in July. You've got it 2 months early. God damn it! I'll have to go a little bit more. No, listen,
you're so quiet about it.
I am. Do you know what? I really am. I'm working on it. It's an issue. I need to be more vocal. I need to do more things. I need to put myself out there. But no, it's got to, that's where we're at. But like you said, if someone said to me next season we finish 8th again, but you can see, like you said, green shoots, which I must admit, for a minute I thought you said green shoes. I was like, what the fuck do you want green shoes for? But then I realized said green shoots. If we can see that, that's progress for me. Yeah, that's progress. Yeah, if Spurs could just show some continuity, and if Spurs come out and go, do you know what? This is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is how we're going to do it. That is more than we've done in 15 years. That is something. That is like, okay, you've now said this. Let's see if you cut. Now you've got my attention. I still don't believe you. You've got my attention, but I'm willing to listen. Let's see how this journey goes. And if you start seeing that, like, I don't know how the team yesterday. What's Massey Sarr got to do to get a game? Ollie Skip needs a rest. Ollie Skip.
Yeah.
I heard this nonsense this week that he's going to be part of the leadership team. What? He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
Has had 2 seasons. Go out and buy some experience that can lead. Rather than going to a 22-year-old, oh, you're Tottenham, you bleed Tottenham, you're now a part of the leadership committee because you can run around a lot. Let these players develop. Alfie Devine, we're going to lose Mundell. Mundell is a huge talent.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
This youth academy has been left. We've just seen two of them win trophies. There's players in that youth team right now, Mundell being one, Divine being a second, that could have had an impact. They could have done something in midfield and made and at least go, there you go, and they would have given the commitment. This is what we need to do. We need to get that. One of the major things we need to do is there's such a, because of the way we've had managers, the manager, when we had Poch, the youth team and they were all together, they did this, they learned to play the Poch way. So when they came up, they'd slot into what Poch did. Yeah. Well, now there's no, they play how the youth team want to play, and we play with whatever manager we've got to play. And it's like, okay, you've learned how to play that, but now learn how to play this. You'll be a more rounded player. No. There's got to be an everything's on the same song sheet.
Absolutely bang on. And this is one of the key things when we say about our youth academy and stuff, and we say about it's not very good. Well, actually, we have got good players, but we did not massively now, but we did. And the biggest problem with what we did, though, there was no rite of passage. There should be a rite of passage for the 18-year-old in the academy to be playing in the first team over a period.
No, look
how many youngsters that we've let out for free, by the way. One of them is playing at one of our rivals right now, and he's playing games with them, and he's looking like a decent player. The other one's playing over in Portugal, and he looked like he did bits against us as well, didn't he?
Marcus Edwards.
Exactly. Marcus Edwards, Noni Madueke. Those two lads could easily be in our team right now. And listen, Savva, something you really picked up on. What do we lack on the most at the moment? Right now, pace. We've got no pace. The two lads that we've let go out on a free, by the way, we have pace on our side. And this is the key problem. There's no rite of passage at Tottenham. You look at other clubs and go, there's a rite of passage there. Even at Chelsea, by the way, who go and sign loads of players, there's still a rite of passage. They've got youngsters playing in their team at the moment. They're spending £600 million on players, but there's still lads in their academy starting games of football.
It's because you're appointing managers like Jose and Conte, where they're managers that want to win now. They ain't managers that are going to bring through the youth. You know, they're only here for 2 years. So
hence why I said he was never the right choice.
It's the wrong manager for the wrong club, isn't it? Wrong, yeah. So, you know, it was the wrong appointment because we didn't have the squad that they needed at that time, you know, to win trophies. So,
I mean, Phil, you look at it, and Gunners Galore has put it in, and I don't like having to speak and big up Arsenal. They went through they've been going through a tough time. Like he says, Smith Rowe, Saka, and Nketiah. There's a few of them that are coming through. They are coming through. Look what Saka's doing. All right, people going on about that missed penalty. I can't remember who it was against recently, but he has had a terrific, wonderful season. I think Smith Rowe is a class act. I don't know if he's been good for a long patches of this. I don't know because obviously I don't. I think Smith Rowe is an incredible player, and they're doing it now. If you're young enough, you're good enough.
Brian, if you look at what they've done, listen, I'm not saying they've achieved anything yet because look, to dislodge City City are just a beast, aren't they? But when you look at everything we lack, like look at that team that played yesterday. There's no legs. There's no legs anywhere in the team. No one can run. No, do you know what I mean? There's no engine. There's no one with legs. There's no one that can press. There's no energy in the team. Look what Arsenal have implemented. Martinelli, Saka, Partey's got a great engine. Even Xhaka's got a great engine. Odegaard gets about the pitch. You look, Zinchenko, Ben White, Saliba, they're all athletes. They can all run. They can all play. They can all move. We buy like static players, like Longley coming in, and to be fair, Scott M just made a great point. All these fans in the summer going, "Oh, don't worry, we got Longley because we're going big on a centre half this year."
But Bentancur's the only one in that midfield that's an engine that can run, that can get about in the midfield. He's the only one for me. But along with Basuma, if he was in a three-man midfield. But you would need someone creative with Bentancur and Basuma. for me
And
to.
I agree.
For it to work. For it to work.
But with Bentancur, we don't know what he's going to be like after that injury. That's an injury that injury that he's got takes careers away. By the way, there's players that have not ever come back from those sort of injuries ever, like been the same at all. So we could come back with a player that's crocked, by the way, and he may not even be back until the new year.
Aren't they saying like isn't his expected return date like the same as Ivan Toney's?
Yeah,
it's
someone said it was around December, January time when Bentancur will be back anyway.
Yep. But do you know what? Talking as well, and do you know what? The thing that's annoyed me as well with Spurs fans, I don't mean in general. It's like, yes, Arsenal have lost the league. Yes, they lost it. Their end of season form hasn't got them through. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Would you have rather taken this Manchester City team to a 36-game title run and just lost it at the end? Yes, you were ahead for most of it, or would you rather have gone out to Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, and are struggling for the Europa Conference League? Which season would you rather be reflecting on right now? Damn, we got so close, but we bottled it, right? Or whatever word you want to use, but we came second.
Can't say bottle in front of Savva.
Yes, we were at the top. But we know where we are. We now need to go get a couple of extra players, which I believe they will. They will back Arteta again. Would you rather have had that season or this season? There you go, shark face. You just got shark face.
Back.
Wait, there you go. But that's the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. We can all laugh. Listen, we've had the nerve. For 6 years we finished above them. 6 years we finished above them. They finished 20 years above us before that, qualifying for the Champions League every single goddamn season. We've won nothing in the 6 years, and they almost won a league title.
But Brian, and the thing is as well, look, if you look at Arsenal, let me come back to that in a second. Sorry, I did miss Phil P with a super chat saying, "Who are you and what have you done with the real at Savva?" I don't know what that was about. Phil, you know me, you love me. You send me sweet nothings every night, so I'm always here for you. Love you. If you look at what Arsenal had to go through to get there, Brian.
Yep.
Right, and I say get there, they've not won anything, but just to even get where they are, they've finished eighth,
yep,
fifth, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, they've done that in a time when Newcastle weren't up there as well, right? Man United have dropped off a bit, but now they're coming back. So next year, you could potentially have fighting up there. You've got Man City will win the league again. I don't even need to know who they sign or lose. They're winning the league next year. Put your money on it. And by the way, for everyone who doubted me, I did a video a while back saying that Man City would win this league by 8 to 10 points, and I was laughed at. I tell you, and it's happening, right? Man City will be up there. Liverpool will be up there, signing players like Alexis McAllister and whoever else they go and buy. Man United, they'll be up there still. Chelsea, we don't know what they're going to do, playing once a week with Poch. Newcastle, Aston Villa are going to spend if they get Europe. They've got owners with deep pockets.
Chelsea,
Arsenal, Chelsea. So for me, I think that people need next year 7th or 8th. I don't think is too bad. I know that sounds weird. I don't think that's going to be too bad, Brian. Because there's so many clubs now that have overtaken us or that were already above us.
Yeah, Savva, you got to remember, but just like Chelsea, we'll be playing once a week, so we're going to have no excuse there. All right, we might slip into the Conference League, which I don't think we will. But you're right. The way that these teams have come, and listen, I think Newcastle are really going to flex their pecs this summer. But I don't mean by going and getting these blockbuster 150, 160 million pound players.
I agree.
They listened to Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
Listen, they backed Eddie Howe when they were 19th. He came in when they were 19th. And you've just got to look at the way they did business last season when they tried to get Maddison. Went with 2 bids. They went, no, we want more. And they said, we've got money. We're not going to pay this stupid money. Off you go. I think Newcastle are really going to strengthen, and they'll strengthen with quality. So they're definitely going to be up there. They're going nowhere. Villa, I think Villa will bring in some players. Unai Emery, and Henry speaks about him a lot, doesn't he, Savva? Unai Emery. I saw that tweet or post.
Henry's goat.
But you know what it is? You look at it, and this stat scared the shit out of me and worried me. When Aston Villa got taken over by Emery, they were 14 points behind us. They have now done the double over us and won 6 league games more than us, and they are 14 points behind us.
Do you know, Brian? They were 17th when he came in.
Yep.
And they were something like 8 points behind West Ham.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something ridiculous. And you look at what they've done. Unai Emery as well. You watch, if Villa get into the Europa League.
The Europa Conference, they can't get in the Europa League, I don't think now, but they'll get in the Europa Conference League.
Yeah.
I said that. I said if Emery gets Villa into Europe next season, put 100 quid on him winning whatever tournament he's in. He's the sort of manager with Villa that would go and win it, either the Conference League or the Europa League. Because he's that manager.
If West Ham could get to the final of the Conference League, I'm sure Villa could do that. I think they're similar sort of team, similar sort of level.
I think there is a way Villa can get into the Europa League still, but I think it depends on Man U's finish, and if they win the FA Cup and blah 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 blah. If they finish in the Champions League and FA Cup, then obviously give up that place.
No, because that's already been given up anyway. Because both teams are already in. The.
Can't Liverpool catch United slam dunk fourth now?
Yeah.
United would be in Europa League anyway if they didn't win it anyway. But so it's
they've got a game in hand as well.
5th and 6th goes to Europa League. The 7th goes to the Conference League.
That's right. Sorry, I kept thinking they're going for 6th. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you're right.
If Man United lose both their last 2 games and Liverpool win their last game, then Liverpool will get 4th because they got a superior goal difference. But Man United's 2 games are Chelsea at home and Fulham at home. You'd fancy them to get a point from those 2 games, right?
Either game, yeah.
1 point.
Sorry, apologies, Brian. Villa can technically get 6th place if they've got to score about 10 goals, and Brighton have to lose both their last 2 games.
Yeah, so that's not happening.
So it's one of those mathematical anomalies that won't happen.
They're 16 goals behind.
Yeah. They're 16 goals behind Brighton, and Brighton have got 2 games.
Yeah, okay, so it's pretty much.
And Aston Villa and Aston Villa's game is against Brighton. So.
Oh, okay. Now it could get tasty if Brighton loses, but it won't happen, will it? Let's be honest,
mate. I do not want. I don't care. I'm going to say it right now. Call me a non-Spurs fan. I do not want to beat Leeds. I'm going to say it. I do not want to beat Leeds. Happy to get a draw. I do not want to beat Leeds and get 7th. I just don't. I just really don't.
I don't want conference. I'm going
to put my hand up and stand with you, and I tell you the truth. And I honestly think this. I don't know how many of the people on this screen right now or fans that are in the chat have been to Ellen Road before. But I tell you what, if you want to go to an intimidating, hostile, toxic place with Leeds having to fight for their Premier League survival, you won't go. Ellen Road is going to be an absolute crescendo of noise. It is going to be vile. It is going to be hostile, and we will crumble.
Oh yeah, I think we'll capitulate. We won't be able to handle it.
That look what we've done at Sheffield United, Wolves, at other away games.
Brian, if you're Sam Allardyce,
yep.
If you're Sam Allardyce, what's your team talk before the game against Spurs?
I'll just do Alex Ferguson. It's Spurs.
Literally,
it's Spurs.
Because Leeds haven't got it in their own hands as well. Because Everton have got it in their hands
to win, don't they?
Leeds need.
They need Bournemouth to beat Everton.
Yeah, they need Bournemouth to beat Everton at Goodison Park.
Yep.
And beat us at Elland Road. So I tell you what, it could be interesting.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you what will be very interesting, Savva. If by any way it does happen that Everton go down, Liverpool will riot. And I don't mean Liverpool, the Liverpool football team.
Yeah.
The Evertonian part of Merseyside, them going down at Goodison. Then you've got to remember, they'll be in the Championship. and they could be in the Championship. They're not going to come up quickly with FFP and the way they are. And they've got that stadium to
Brand
build.
new stadium,
And they can open that water. For Everton Football Club, this is absolutely...
Do you know my worry, guys, right? To bring it full circle, and in a minute, I want to talk about some of the players from yesterday, but if you remember, we were saying like the similarities between this season and the season when Jose was sacked. If you remember, the very last game of the season, if we had lost, we played Leicester, and if we had lost to Leicester, we wouldn't have got the Conference League. And I remember this. And we decided to turn up, was it 4-2?
Oh, with Gareth Bale hat-trick.
Yeah.
Gareth Bale hat-trick.
Right. And I remember everyone being really happy, and I was thinking, oh, fucking... And I've got this horrible feeling that, like, a game you might want Spurs to not win. We'll go to Ellen Road, a scrappy penalty in the last minute. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, no. I just don't want to win.
But wasn't it Wolves, though? Sorry, when Jose was celebrating at Wolves, when we beat Wolves 1-0, that's when we got on the last game of the season, right? I remember because he had all the pictures in...
Jose weren't here, was he? He'd been sacked.
Yeah.
Huh?
Jose had been sacked.
Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, but Jose... Oh, no, wait. Was it Jose? No, I can't, maybe I've got it.
Jose went mad when Jan Vertonghen scored the winner.
Yeah, it wasn't there. Sorry, no, you're right, yeah.
Just because we won a game in the last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vertonghen had to win it.
My boy, my man.
Guys, can I just... I want to talk just quickly. I only want to go for another 15 minutes. If you look at the players yesterday, how many of the players that played would you genuinely be bothered if you didn't see them in a Spurs shirt again? So I want to go through them. I want a yes or no from everyone. And if anything's controversial, we'll discuss it, right? So Fraser Forster, is anyone bothered if you never see him in a Spurs shirt again?
No.
I'm like this. And the only reason I'm like this is because we know Lloris is going.
Yeah, and we've got
no idea who's coming in. And
so we're happy for him to be the understudy.
I'm happy for Foster to be the maybe the understudy, but you got to remember, Savva, and we've spoken again about this. For me, signing this keeper or signing a keeper is the biggest decision that you have to get right.
Agreed.
You look at it when Seaman left, when Michael left, when Lehman left, when all these big Van der Sar left. You go through this. This is the one. I think of Musa Taibbi and all these other ones that people. This has got to be right. And normally, this is how bad it's got. Lloris signed this 2-year contract, and when he signed this 2-year contract last season, or this season, however it was, I said, you know what? Do what Man U did with De Gea. You had Van der Sar for that year or 2 years. Scout. So when he does go, you're ready. Well, I think the way form has been this season, the way the state of the club is, and now this apparent move to the Middle East, I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Everyone in the world knows we're going to be looking for a number one, and it's going to drive the price up.
But do you know what?
They go right. They need 2 keepers, or they're playing Brandon Austin, who could be a great keeper. I think Foster has to stay. But that's.
I mean, not that I think it's going to happen, but is there any way Hugo Lloris stays at the club as a number 2?
No, he's gone.
No,
he's gone.
I don't.
No, I think he's going.
I think.
By the way, can I say, has he been horrible? I think isn't that
no.
Fraser Forster. I think Fraser Forster's been our signing of the season. That's not even a joke, by the way.
I don't know what he's done wrong. I feel like this is more a prejudice thing rather than a performance.
Yeah,
I think he's been solid.
Fraser Forster's been the only good signing we've had all season. But I just wanted to just touch on what Brian said about the keeper. Look how hard it is to get it right. Sorry. I was just going to say quickly. Look how much money Chelsea are having to spend to get a new goalkeeper. They've spent loads of money on 2, and they want to get another one. But that was what I was just going to say. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, that's good. It's all about scouting, isn't it? Ben Davies? Yeah. Hang on. Look, sorry, I've got to have this out. Sorry. What has Forster done that's awful? Sorry, I must be missing this in games.
I'm baffled with that.
He's no worse than Hugo Lloris.
I think he's been better than Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The only
What's he done?
The only thing I will say that's been a problem with him, Savva, and it's you got to remember it's his defence that have let him down. Our defence has been shocking, which has left it open. But you saw in the Leicester game, the size of Foster and his age, players know hit it low and hit it far post. The time it's taken him to get down has been his issue. If it's in the air or whatever, he's been solid. But if you hit it low and hit it in the corner, it's been up, and that's no fault of his own. But his defence have been absolutely trash.
No, I agree. But
even with his distribution, I think he's been way better than Lloris as well.
Wonder's got better distribution.
You know,
I feel like when we do things like this, I feel like this is harsh. If you look at the goals yesterday, what are we blaming him for? Yes, the Leicester game, which was I think this first game in, he looked slow and laboured getting down. But in the last month or so, I've seen him make save after save. And
agreed.
I feel like just calling. I'm not. By the way, guys, I don't want him as a number one. By the way, can I just say that?
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think we all want
I don't know how anyone can aim at him that he's been awful. I think that's being silly for being silly's sake. Like that.
I know
the save that he's right at him.
So you know what the comment that you had up before, Savva, the comment you had up before 4 shots, 3 goals. First goal, yes, I think he moved his arm back, but Longley made a huge error, got through. They took a good shot. The second goal, that pass to set Mbembo up was one of the passes of the season. It completely cut the Spurs defense to ribs because they're useless. And he was clean through. The third one, Ollie Skip got turned over, high press. Yep. They were banging on goal. It was right in front of him before he could move. I'm not saying he should stay and be the number one. What I am saying What I am saying is with Hugo Lloris going, I said before, Savva, didn't I? And Percy and Phil, if we're ripping contracts up, we need to get people in of quality to replace those people. But we need extra quality for what we've even got now.
But I'd have him as a 2, right? You can't
get 2 goalkeepers and then everything else we need to do. You're talking big money, and we're not spending it.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. We've got to buy a whole defence and a goalkeeper for next year, and a playmaker, and maybe a striker if Kane goes. But anyway, Ben Davis.
Get rid.
But that's the thing. The thing I'm saying with you.
Yes.
You get rid of him. We already need 2 very good centre backs already.
Yeah.
Now you're talking 3. What the way I'm looking at this, I'm trying to do this level-headed and not have my Levy out hat on or whatever.
Yeah, same. I'm trying to be level-headed.
If you're Savva's saying who you don't want to see next season, I could easily say 9 players. Does that mean we're going to bring in 19 players, mate? Does that mean we're going to bring in 9 players of quality? It's not going to.
Okay. You've got to take into account the homegrown as well. You've got to take that into account for next season. So,
and we've got to take into account we still need a squad. I know we want to get rid of 20 players, but it's not going to happen over the summer. And for me, I think Ben Davis is one of those that I think he's one in the squad because he can play left back, he can play left centre half. I think he's
going to complain if he sits on the bench, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
Consensus is keep him gone.
All right. I don't even need to ask. Davinson Sanchez.
Bye.
100% gone.
Contract ripped.
Yeah.
Okay. So Longley. Now the worrying thing about Longley is the comments that Ryan Mason made yesterday or Friday about we're looking to see what we can do with him.
God,
I'm not going to be held accountable for what happens if we see breaking news. Spurs sign Clement Longley.
Honestly,
I will not be held responsible. I've already got everything lined up of what if he signs for Tottenham Hotspur after, like we said, the stopgap. He's coming in because we're going to. He has been woeful in a back 3. He can't, as Sean Butler said when we first signed him, he's good in a back 3. Which he could have been. Don't get me wrong. He is definitely better in a back 3 than he is a back 2. he's a shambles in the back two. This has not been a good loan deal
whatsoever.
No, it's terrible. Mate,
this is the thing. This is the thing that happens because Barcelona, and we did it again on We Are Tottenham TV. Barcelona want him gone, so we think, we can get him cheap.
Yeah,
this is what we do. Do you know what? If Barcelona, this is what I'm getting at. If someone like, let's say, Bournemouth signed a Clement Longley, that is a huge, mammoth, major, iconic signing for them. Bournemouth, the little team of Bournemouth signing someone from Barcelona. We should not be looking for players that Barcelona don't. If they're good players, we should be going, Barcelona. We should be going, we want this player from Barcelona or that player. Oh, but he's going cheap. Here we go. No, he's been crap.
Yeah, but what's coming out from the club? Well, from Mason, from what he said recently, he said Clement Longley is the type of player we want. You know,
it's worrying. Says it all, doesn't it?
Very worrying. Very worrying.
Yeah, no, can't be signing him. No way.
Okay, so no Longley. And then right back was Emerson Royale.
Keep.
I think he's deserved another chance. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I think I'm not. And if Nick's in the comments,
I think we keep him. Yeah.
I think honestly, second half of the season, he's certainly improved. Improved. I think he's warranted. And again, I'm saying this, Savva, because you've got to start looking. We can't just go, get rid of him. Because
I agree. You've got to keep some of them, right?
Yeah.
I suppose the thing for me with Royal and a lot of this kind of guessing game is it all depends, right, on what the new manager and director of football, what do they want to play? Because if it's wing backs week in, week out, I don't want Royal in a wing back formation. Yeah. If it's a back four, Royal can go at right back. But again,
it could maybe do a job at right-sided centre back if we did go to a back three. But predominantly he's a right back, isn't he? By trade. So
yeah, predominantly is. Yeah. All right. So what about? Let's move forward into the middle of the pitch. Oliver Skip.
Why are you doing this to me?
Keep.
I'll start. I think he's absolutely fucking useless. I think
we keep him.
If we have any ambition as a football club, this man should not be playing central midfield for a Premier League football team. I'm sorry. I think he's awful. Just me.
I think we keep him because of registration reasons. It's a damning indictment. No, he's English and he comes to our academy. It's a damning indictment, but that's the reason we keep a hold of him, by the way. It is the reason.
Sorry, go on, Punch. You finished, buddy.
No, I was just saying because, hypothetically, we don't want it, but we could finish in the Conference League next week. We need to have 4 players that have come through our academy. If Harry Kane goes, that's 1 down. Skip Tanganga, you're going to have to find 4 of them to register.
Winks,
exactly. So my point being is that these sort of players, however much we don't want them,
he's not Scott.
He's not going anywhere. What was that?
Scott, I mean, have you ever known anyone as harsh as Scott on players? I mean, listen, I don't.
Oh, come on. He's not even the worst player in our team.
I don't rate him as spoiled. But yeah, Perchy, I was about to say the same thing. He's not even the worst player in the Tottenham team, let alone the worst player in the Premier League.
With Skip, what I will say, Zar TV, I can't remember what his name is, Zar Spur, big up. I've got a lot of time for him. He said something about Ollie Skip that if this was an option, is it yes, no, or can you say loan?
I mean, whatever you want to do. There's no rules.
I would loan him out. If you put Ollie Skip on a loan to a Premier League team, not back down with Norwich, let's say a Villa or a mid.
He ain't getting into Villa.
He ain't getting into Villa.
I meant like a middle.
I know what you're saying, though.
Okay, so Villa now doing that, but I mean like a middle Premier League team, a Palace, a Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
We've done this before with him, though, Brian. We've sent him out.
He walked it at Norwich, but he's 22.
Yeah,
I'm going to debate this with you, Brian.
Go on, let's do it.
I don't think he gets into. Let's have this out, right? Listen, on a serious note, I don't think he gets into any Premier League midfield right the way down. Hang on, let me look at the Premier League table before I shoot myself in the foot with this one.
They'll get in Bournemouth. They'll get in Bournemouth.
I'm looking at this team. I'm thinking he doesn't get in at Wolves. When you look at their central midfielders, he won't get in at Chelsea. For me, does he get in at Palace above Schlupp and who is it, Decore or whoever? Nope. Does he get in at Fulham above Paulinho or Reed? Nope. Does he get in at Brentford over players like Jensen? Nope. Does he get in at West Ham?
Maybe if they sell Declan Rice.
I don't know where he gets in.
They'll get in at Bournemouth.
I don't know
think Bournemouth will get in.
I don't know who he plays for.
I just think
Bournemouth.
Look, he did wonderful. Listen, he did wonderful at Norwich in the Championship. I know it's the Championship. He came back. You got to remember, before he got injured, when we had Conte the first season, when I went to the 3-2 win at Leicester, when Bergwijn's goals, he was doing bits. Then he got another injury. He gets these injuries where our medical team say it's worse than first feared and just seems to be out for longer. I think even if he didn't get into those teams as first choice, Savva, he could do something as the like what he's on the bench and coming on. But I just think he needs to go somewhere and just do it. I'm not a yes, I'm not a no. Let's put it that way. So I think a loan could do wonders.
I'd sell him for 1.5 million.
Jesus Christ!
Like I say, it all depends on the manager, doesn't it? You know, all depends on the manager and what he wants to do.
Absolutely crap. And again, I think if you're bringing in a manager that wants engine, good legs, you know, good passing ability, what does Skip do? There's a question. I don't. When I watch him, I never know what he does. Tell me if I'm being harsh. I just don't.
You know what? I can see where you're coming from with that comment. I honestly can see where you're coming from with that comment.
He's a ball-winning midfielder. I think that's his sort of trait as a midfielder. I think he's a ball-winning midfielder. He keeps it simple, gives it to players that can dictate play, like Basuma, and that's his job. You know, he's a simple player.
Just quickly, I've got a super chat here. A user said, until a manager comes in, why are we looking at players? Well, because I'm sure that there's many players that the new manager is going to want to get rid of immediately unless they've been living under a rock. That's why. And why not? But thank you for the super chat. Yeah, ball-winning midfielder maybe, but I don't know. I just look at him and think, who does he start for in the Premier League? And if I'm looking at all those clubs and saying no, then there's no way he should be playing central midfield for Tottenham Hotspur, is there?
He'd probably get the Forest team.
It's all preferences, though. You know, everyone's got different preferences. Personally, I like a Xavi type player, you know, or an Iniesta type player. That's my preference.
I'm just saying
but
I didn't think
in that mold, I'm not saying we're going to get a player like that, but you know, that type of mold player. You know, with Skip, he's not very. You know, he's not elusive, is he? You know, we don't go past players, and it's all different preferences, isn't it? You know, but he is a ball-winning midfielder in my eyes.
I'll tell you, I've just made this easier on myself in my head. I've just thought, right, who would you rather see in midfield next season? And I'm being serious here, and people will back me up and say, no, I talk about it. If they said Ollie Skip or Alfie Devine, I'm picking Alfie Devine every single time. So if it was based on that, if I knew Alfie Devine was coming into the first team next season properly, not as in starting, but it was at the expense of Ollie Skip, am I sitting here going, oh no, I don't want to lose Skip? I would say bye-bye Skip.
I'd take that chance. Yeah.
It's not trust me, Phil, when I say it's not a chance. The sooner this guy gets in the team, I am putting a bet on this summer that Alfie Devine is going to the World Cup in Canada for England.
But I mean, he hasn't played for the first team yet, so it's sort of. I mean, he's highly regarded with the club, isn't he? You know, he's come through the academy, and he's a very, very good, you know, talented player. But you know, he's an attacking midfielder, isn't he?
He can play anywhere across the middle or up to or behind the strike. He is just incredible.
Yeah. So, sorry, people saying like, "Oh, Perch, you're saying this, that, and the other." I said, "No. I'm not saying it what I want. If it was me, get rid of him." But I'm talking about realistically. Like, how the club will operate. They won't get rid of a player like that who is come through the academy, regardless of what we all want. I'm trying to be realistic here. If it was me, if I was in charge, I'd be ripping up about 19 contracts. If I'm honest, we'll have about 5 players, and people think I'm joking. I think I could probably name 5 players that I'd happily keep, and the rest I'd get rid of. I think I'm just trying to be a bit more realistic.
Well, I mean, Skip's highly regarded at the club, isn't he? You know that they
I keep hearing this, but he's crap.
But we're all giving opinions on him, and obviously we don't want him in the squad. But you know, within the club, he's highly regarded. You know, so I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I think he stays. I think he stays purely because he's English.
He stays because he comes. I think he's only coming through because he's through our academy. Literally, is the only reason he stays. It's a damning indictment of our football club. Yeah.
Well, also you got to remember when you're talking about English quotas. When you talk about English quotas, I think one of these contracts that are going to get ripped up could be Japhet Tanganga. So that's another English player.
Oh yeah,
out the window. So we'll have to wait and see.
The thing is, as well, if you bring in these managers to play football, I don't mean that like to battle. I don't mean like the Contes and the Joses of this world. If you bring in a manager like a Slot, like a Nagelsmann, they like to get the ball down, they like to play. Skip's not going to interest them in any way, shape, or form. So that just might listen. Way too much time on Oliver Skip.
Yeah.
I reckon he should go. He should go back to Norwich, and I'll pay for him to get there. Basuma.
Stay.
100% key. We should be building our midfield around these Basuma.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, nice easy one. Right. Danjuma. Do we make his loan a permanent one?
No.
There's talk that we are.
There's
talk that we are, and I have to. Not only are they saying that there's talk about it, and is there a more Spursy line? Apparently, we're looking to do it for a discounted price.
Oh, that is.
And I've heard that from a very, very reliable person. Reliable person.
I mean, that's bargain based.
Was it Danny Kiriakou?
No.
Just checking.
No. Danny Kirimanu. No, he hasn't.
He's the most famous ITK I know. So let's just check in.
No, but there is real talk of Basuma maybe. Put it this way, it's further down the line apparently than Longley.
Wow, that's mad. That's incredible. We haven't even played him this season. Like since he's come in, he hasn't even played anything. Like that's balmy.
I don't think he's impressed when he's come on. Anyway, to be honest with you, when he's got his chance, I don't think he's impressed me.
I don't think he's been that bad, but it's not. I wouldn't say he's been that bad, but it's like, I mean, people?
Has he really had a chance?
That's what I don't even think you can say he's had a chance.
He's double figures appearances, is he?
Yeah, I mean, how many of those have come off the bench and played for about 2 minutes?
yeah, I know that, but at the end of the day, you're on loan. You want to impress, no matter if it's a half hour.
Yeah, but you can't. But you can't impress if you get average 4 to 5 minutes a game, can you?
No, he's had more of a chance than that. He hasn't.
Nah. I'm going to get it up because I know it's not even that.
Yeah, I think he started one Premier League start. I mean, we can't. Listen, I'm not saying sign him. I'm just saying I just don't feel like.
I'm going off previous spells at Villarreal, Bournemouth. I don't think he's the sort of level we should be looking for. I think we can get better.
Danjuma's played 163 minutes since being at Spurs this season. It's not even 2 games.
163 minutes, man. Come on. That's
not even 2 games.
Okay, let's go.
He started one of them.
Other teams as well.
Let's address a player that I think will split opinion. Dejan Kulusevski. Would you sign him?
Yes.
And for me, it depends who the manager is. If we're getting a manager that wants legs and wants to press, I don't want him anywhere near the team. I think he is massively, massively overrated. Sorry, I think he's been crap all year.
But do you know what, Savva, you're right to a point. He has, but again, what I put this down is to the way I've likened his season this season is just like Kieran Trippier's last season. He's clearly had a knock that he hasn't recovered from, but because there's no quality, we've played him and played him and played him and played him and made him play through the pain. He has been. Some people start to say he's been found out, and there is real big evidence to say like he has not been himself. He's only got 2 goals. He scored more than 2. I think he scored 8 goals from January till the end of the season. But the problem I've got with him not staying is if we do sign him for the 35 million it's meant to be, his value is more than that immediately.
Yeah.
But okay, let me spin it then. When you say he's not been what he normally is, we're going by a sample size of about 4 months at the end of last season, true. Right? Because my question mark to this is, if he's that good, why couldn't he hold down a regular place at Juve, and why did they let him go so cheap? That's my only worry, because what I've seen of him this year, and listen, I get it, being injured and all this kind of stuff, but for me, he falls into that bracket of he's one of those players that no matter what he does, we seem to find excuses for him for being bad. Mm-hmm. And I just worry from what I watched yesterday. If again, guys, I keep caveating this again, depending on the philosophy and the style that the new manager wants to play, I worry that he can't press, he can't get in behind. There was an occasion yesterday where I think Kane maybe span a through ball through to him, and the defender just gobbled him up in about 2 seconds. Like he just had no legs to get on the end of it. I'm just starting to wonder: is he that good?
No, I'd keep him. You're going to get rid of Lucas as well. Obviously, he's going at the end of the season. Whether we get Danjuma or not, that's another player that may be going out the door. So I think Kulu. I think you keep Kulu. There's enough quality there. Going forward, I think he's a snip at 30-35 million in my eyes. I think he's a quality player. It's just all about the new manager. Well, though, Savva, you know, confidence is a big thing in a player, and within the squad this year, that the confidence has been shot, and that affects players all round. So I think next season you'll see a different Kulu.
I'm just listen. I'm one of these, right? I look at it and there's something I like about Kulu, but if we're looking honestly, the sample sizes we've got of him being good versus him being really bang average, the bigger sample size is him being bang average than being good. That's a fact, right? My worry is he can't run.
Well, to pour petrol on the fire of what you're saying about Kulu, because you raised some good points, Savva, about Kulu, you really do. But then this just also puts more petrol on the fire to the story that I'm hearing about Danjuma. Because if he's going out, Danjuma will be cheaper than 35 million, considerably.
Of course. Yeah, I was going to say.
So there you go. If because obviously these rumours came out that we may not take up this option, why not sign a guy that's had 183 minutes or 163 minutes experience in the Premier League? It sounds like a wonderful thing to do.
But this is what we want to get away from. We don't want to go cheap because they're, you know, it's maybe a good deal. You know, we want to get away from that. We don't want to just do cheap deals, do we? You know. I mean,
with Kulusevski's a great thing, and this is the part, and this is the bit that I think, Savva, you're going to completely agree, because it's something we've said about players getting a free pass. There's other players in this club that get a complete and utter free pass. Just because Kulusevski's got a song and he's our ginger from Sweden and all that lot, all of a sudden we have to keep a hold of him. I'm not saying keep him or sell him. I think probably the answer is to keep him. But I think the only reason we're questioning it is he scored 2 goals all season. I put in our group chat, Savva, the amount of players in our team that have scored 2 goals. The likes of Eric Dyer, Ben Davies and Ryan Sessegnon have scored the same amount of goals he has this season. Listen, and we talked, and people talked about him being on the same level as Bukayo Saka, by the way.
I'm just looking at this as well, right? I'm just playing devil's advocate, guys. is if we've got X amount in the summer to spend on players, I'm looking and thinking, do I want X amount of that money to be going on a guy who's just had a really bad season? I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'd like someone quicker. That if it's me, I'd like someone that can run. And my worry is that if you have Kulu, the pressing kind of goes out the window because the bloke can't run. That's my worry. If you've got him, hear me out here, guys. If you've got him and Harry Kane does stay, how we press him from the front?
No, this is your argument can't be. You raised some really, really valid points, and this is the thing. This is why this managerial situation needs to be cleared up. Season end next week. It needs to be cleared up within the first week, because you got to remember the players go on holiday. He's not going to be able to see them. They come back July 1st. You ain't got time. You're in pre-season. Kulusevski had a wonderful first half of the season. He has not had a great season this season. Undeniable. You can't debate it. And you're right. You raised some very valid points.
Listen, I'm not saying if we signed him that I'm like, oh my God, that's awful.
No, of course not.
I just think, again, it comes back to that scouting point. I think when I look at other wingers in the league, I don't know. He lacks something for me. I feel like he's very predictable in his play as well when he's constantly trying to shuffle onto that left foot. But
especially since
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with his pace, and maybe he is sort of suited to maybe a 10 role, like some of the comments that are coming in now.
Possibly.
Maybe that does suit him more, because as a 10, you don't really need that pace. You just need the sort of trickery and the passing ability.
I love this player.
This is the sort of player I want.
Agreed.
Perchy, do you remember when I said in the chat ages ago, I said I would take Eze and Elise from Palace?
Agreed.
Massively.
I'd have both of them.
If we had to pick one of those, I think Eze is top. Elise has done really, really
Eze's
well.
brilliant.
Eze, we should have got him from QPR. That was another one of the ones, but when we were again heavily linked.
We never took the gamble on these championship players, because we were after Elise as well, by the way, and we were
just quickly, Perchy, just really quickly. First of all, someone made a great point in the chat. There's 400 odd people in here and only 150 likes, which is really really
hit the like button. Like, come on,
please hit the like button. Please subscribe to Perchy TV, and please subscribe to Tottenham on Tour.
Getting away from 600, guys. Come on, please.
Probably I should say, please subscribe to me as well. We've just smashed over the 5,100. So I'm creeping up on 5,500 slowly but surely. And I've just seen a comment that I really like. I really like it. You've probably seen it. I like the esteemed company that I'm keeping here. Mason and Savva, like we're a couple. You never have the attacking mid press highest up and forwards behind. Someone is going to play box to box behind the striker. You can't even pressing on top as well. To the best of my knowledge, I think Kulusevski's played about 45 minutes of football in a Spurs shirt in the number 10 role. So I'm talking about him as a wide forward. If you watch teams like Arsenal, watch teams like City, the first thing that happens is Saka, Martinelli, whether it's Foden, Grealish, whoever's on the right-hand side, Bernardo Silva, they press. But thank you for grouping me in with Ryan Mason. Cool. Fair enough. Of all the things you could have called me an idiot for, that's what you went with. That's really poor. It's really poor. You've got better things to cuss me about than that. See, back on this point, guys, I just feel that our squad lacks game changers as well. I mean, our squad lacks everything, but I'm not saying you bring in Eze and Elise, for example, and they both have to start. But I just think these are the type of players that make things happen. Do you know what I mean? And they're making things happen at Crystal Palace. I'd love to see one of those in a Spurs shirt. I truly would.
Yep, agreed.
You know, I'd be interested to see what people in the comments and your question. I can't remember. I remember growing up, obviously, and I would always talk about Paul Gascoigne. Always. When Paul Gascoigne got that football, you're on the edge of the seat, like going, "Oh my god, what's going to happen?"
Yeah.
You knew something could happen. David Ginola, Rafa van der Vaart, Gareth
Oh.
Bale. I can't remember a player since Gareth Bale. Listen, Harry Kane is incredible, goal scoring, blah blah. When he's got the ball, I don't get off the edge. Like if he's about to shoot a goal, yes. But if he picks the ball up in midfield, I'm not on the edge of my seat thinking, okay, this guy could take on 3 players. And then I can't remember the last time we had someone. Who was the last player you can remember, seriously, in recent times, that got you off the edge of the seat? Like when that's what we've missed in this stadium. In this stadium, we haven't had that player that when you get it, like a David Ginola, when you think, oh my god, he's on the ball, something's gonna. I can't remember the last person we had like that.
Dembele, I thought he was quality for us. Moussa Dembele. I thought he was probably the only one in recent times where, you know, he goes past players and he's very dynamic midfielder. I thought he was quality for us.
I loved him, but I think Dembele is one of the best players I've ever seen live. But I don't think he had to be on the edge of, like, I mean, in creative. Dembele taking on players and holding players off, yeah, but I mean that Paul Gascoigne.
I'll tell you what, Brian, no one has got me off my seat at Tottenham Hotspur since Gareth Bale was the last one.
I think that.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm putting Bale in there. I'm putting Ginola in there. Gascoigne in there. Now,
Van der Vaart.
Van der Vaart, not one.
Luka Modric.
Different type of player. I thought Luka was brilliant. He's not a get you off your seat type player, is
like
he? He just controls the game. But not one player I watch now, when they get the ball, do I go, oh, something's going to happen? Never. I haven't experienced it for years at Tottenham. None of them. Some people are saying, Modric.
Sonny?
Eric Dyer, get out of the seat. Sonny doesn't do it for me.
Proud to be a Geordie. Proud to be a Geordie has just hit one, but it was pre-Bale or just before Bale developed. Berbatov.
What a player.
I would put. Yeah.
Oh, but Berbatov. Yeah, but see, this is the thing. I think when we're looking like, so for example, when I look at players like Kulu, right? I'm not saying he's not a good player, but when I look at that compared to when you're talking about the Ginolas and the Van der Vaarts and the Bales, this guy, when he gets the ball, I don't get excited. I can't help that. I don't get excited when any of our players get the ball. Genuinely. I just don't. There's no one in there. There's not that maverick. Kane does some sublime things, but it's not that. You know what I mean? He's impactful, but there's not that thing that you go get up off you. Do you know what I mean? When Ginola got the ball, I just was like, what's he going to do? Like, this guy's brilliant. Every time he got the ball, you felt something was going to happen. And if you remember, guys, the sense of optimism around the stadium when players like Ginola and Bale got the ball was just something could happen. The collective breath, and need to go back to getting one of them from somewhere.
That's what you always
people are saying about not Son's goal against Burnley. Yeah, but I'm not talking about one-off. People like Ginola and Bale got me off my seat every game.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't one special moment. They did it every game. They did something that you went. But now when Son gets the ball, I'm expecting nothing. The guy looks awful.
Yeah.
I don't expect anything when he gets the ball now.
Okay, someone's just put in the chat, a good chat. Aaron Lennon did that as well for periods as well.
Did he?
His pace was for periods. I'm not saying collectively. Not Gareth Bale from minute one did that. Like when he did. Please. Yeah, Gary Doherty. What a shout! Yeah, he made me leave my seat.
Yeah.
Berbatov is a bigger Spurs legend than Kane. Do you know what? I was having a conversation with Henry the other day, actually, and he said to me, he said, who was a better player, in your opinion? Was it Kane or Berbatov? And I said, if we're talking about who's a better goal scorer, it was Harry Kane. Player, I don't think I've seen many as good at football as Dimitar Berbatov. I thought he was just elegance personified. He was a genius. I'm just saying.
I was at Ledley King's. I don't know how many people. I was at Ledley King's testimonial at the old stadium. A lot of them still had it, but Dimitar Berbatov, my God. I mean, I still, do you know what? One of the best things I ever see at Dimitar Berbatov weren't even in a Spurs shirt. It was when he was playing for Fulham, when that long ball went in the like, you can't, and literally it lands on his foot like he's got fucking super glue on his fucking.
Was this was it the one on the touchline when he just drags it along the touchline and just for Man United, then they score from it? Plays along to Rooney. Oh, special.
But you just got to remember, in his first season, he did a 25-yard bicycle kick for us against Middlesbrough. Who does a 25-yard bicycle kick?
He was a special player, Berbatov.
I mean them three players, them three strikers, Defoe, Robbie Keane, and Berbatov at the time. I thought they were amazing.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I crave that, and this is why. Again, if I bring this back to the whole Kulu thing, and when we're looking at players like Skip, and I look at these players we've seen down the years, then I look at these players now, and I feel like we're trying to pencil them into being better than they are.
Yeah.
St. Maximan, I wouldn't, because there's no end product. I think
you can work on that though, Savva.
Yeah, I think work on that. The right coaching, I think he could be a gem.
I don't think, Savva, you and me can sit here talking about Gazza's. Not saying that St. Maximum is in that. St. Maximum would certainly have you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
he would, but those. St. Maximin for me is a frustrating player because he's one of those where I don't think even his teammates know what he's going to do. And
it's true.
He's got one goal this year.
Yeah, that's
one goal. He got 5 last year, 3 the year before, 3 the year before that. I don't know. And he's 26. It's not like he's look. I take him in the squad. Of course I would, but I just feel like for how much money Newcastle would want, is that where we want our budget to be going? But yeah, people like Berbatov was our Bergkamp, yeah. Waddle. His son came back,
but yeah, Waddle was incredible.
Son came by a mile. Neither of Son or Kane get me off my seat, by the way. Lo Celso, Lamella. We'll go for a couple more minutes, guys. Just quickly, so let me ask you a question. If a bid came in this summer for Heung-min Son, would you take it?
Depends how much. I'll tell you the right number for me. What? Huh?
So I'm just saying, off the back of the season we just seen from him, if a bid came in 80, 90 million.
Yeah.
80 million gone. Ta-da.
Yeah, 89 million bid. Yeah, 100%. I was more talking down the 70 region at this point.
Well, actually, you see, this is the thing. You've got to look at it again. He brings in more than 70, 80 million. Not that we get to see it at the football club because it goes in the sky.
Yeah.
But when you got to remember, when we do get rid of Kane, I don't think the amount of money Heung-min Son makes this football club is off the scale.
We're not selling him. No way.
It's off the scale from people. Bobby Kay was in the Spurs club shop, and it was like the Sun shirts go on for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
And the Harry Kane shirts are like the money. He is a pure money. We talk about cash cow.
He's a marketing machine, isn't he?
He's a marketing dream.
He is. If we lose him. This is why, as well. Do you know what? There's this talk. I can't remember the name. There's another South Korean that we've been heavily linked with. I can't remember.
Is it Kim Min-jae?
No, it's not the Beast. There's another. I can't remember the name, but it is another person.
Lee Kang-in, isn't it the one at Mallorca?
Like Lee Kang-in, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this to be controversial. I think Heung-min Son goes once another South Korean or Asian player is in. And I don't mean that in a rude or offensive or I see it's a money-making machine. You've got to look at it as well with Scott Munn. Scott Munn's pride and joy that he knows like the back of his hand is the Asian market.
He plays for Valencia, I think.
The Asian market.
Oh, he was at Mallorca, yeah.
South Korea are bringing players, great players through. Look, like I said, Kim Min-jae. There's an untapped market there. Like people will go into France with Wenger, and like I don't think Son goes to another Asian player as him.
No, I said it, and I said when people said about this before, like for me, if it was me, yeah, if you got 78 million quid, I personally would. But yeah, you're right. I said some will retire at Tottenham. Some will be longer. He will be one of those that will be here at 34, 35, and will still have a contract until he literally retires. I genuinely said that.
What about Matoma? What about Matoma? Would you take him?
Why would Matoma come? Why would Matoma come to Tottenham?
They won't let Matoma go in the same year that they're losing McAllister and Cassano.
And why would Matoma? Listen, I think Matoma is
some replacement. I mean,
but why? If Matoma, if he's going to go anyway, he's going to go to the next steps, the likes of Arsenal, Liverpool, Man
Chelsea,
United, Chelsea, anywhere abroad would take a Matoma. Do you know what I mean? Like, why? We have the me and Savva says all the time. All the names on the list will be after a Matoma if he's available. Why is he coming?
Same with Madison, right? It's the same.
Yeah, Madison's another one exactly. Why would Madison come to Tottenham? He's going to go if he's going. Look at the teams above us. By the way, they'll go to these teams above us in the league.
But according to Donna Cullen, if we get Brendan Rodgers, he's coming with Tillemans. Good old Donna.
Just quickly, last question I want to ask is a question that where is it? That Paddy put in. Thought this would be an interesting one to end the show on. Paddy has said, question for the panel. Your best partnership up front you've seen for Spurs. Here's Berbatov. Perchy, let me start with you. The best partnership you've seen up top, and I've seen a few good ones. I've seen
best part. I think I'm going to say, if we're going to say it statistically, Kane and Son.
Hang on, just quickly. I love it when Billy Horrocks turns up. He's like, you're always down talk your own club. I'm guessing this is in relation to me saying, why would Maddison want to join Tottenham? Let me tell you why, Billy. Because if James Maddison goes on the market, Newcastle have already tried to buy him last year, right? Man City will try and buy him if they lose either Gundogan or Bernardo Silva. Liverpool would definitely want him. I can't see a reason why Chelsea wouldn't want him. They need a playmaker as well. I just feel like lots of other clubs will want him, and he's going to go, where do I go?
Money talks, though, Savva, sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and all the teams that
you think hang on. You think we can outbid Man City, Chelsea?
He's not going to Man City, is he? He's not going to Man City.
Yeah, but Newcastle will outbid us.
Hang on. It doesn't even matter. They're all going to outbid us. They're all going to pay him a much bigger salary, and they've all got more to offer. Why would he come to Tottenham Hotspur now? I don't understand it. This is the thing. We've missed those opportunities. Do we truly believe that we're going to be his first choice for a destination this summer?
No, not a chance.
We're not even going to be his fourth or fifth choice.
Exactly. And why wouldn't he go Man City?
I don't think he'd get in. I don't think he'd get in at Man City.
But
you've got Grealish, Foden. But I can't. He doesn't play on the right. He's always predominantly playing on the left. So I couldn't see him playing at Man City.
He played on the right against us.
He doesn't play on the left.
Yeah, but predominantly,
he played on the right against us.
You know, that's where his best position is. I can't see him playing on the right where Mahrez is. He's not getting in front. He's not getting in front of them players.
Billy, I've just seen your other comment. What are you on about?
Hang on. His best position is in the hole. His best position isn't from one of the flanks.
Matoma.
You don't think no, James Maddison.
Oh no, I'm on about Matoma.
Oh, why? We're all talking about James Maddison.
Oh, oh, right. Okay, sorry. I missed that trick, mate.
You're a conversation behind. I love it.
Matoma. Yeah, Maddison. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, miles away.
Did you say Billy put in a?
Yeah. Why did?
How did Arsenal sign Gabriel Jesus then? Okay, where else was Gabriel Jesus going to go better than Arsenal? I'll leave that one with you. Perchy, the best strike partnership you've seen at Spurs.
Yeah, as I said, I think you have to. I'll go statistically and go Kane and Son. Just on absolute quantity of goals between them, the pair of them.
Yeah, but isn't my only argument against this is going to be that's over longevity, though, right? Some of the other partnerships we've seen that were brilliant didn't play 7-8 years together, did they?
Yeah, that's fair enough. No. That is fair enough. I mean, I loved. Probably weren't the best, but I did love the Crouch Defoe partnership. I wouldn't say they were the best, but I did there was just something I just enjoyed them two together. I don't know what it was, but yeah, no, I'll go Kane and Son. You could even argue then I wouldn't say they were the best, but even when Dele Alli in his early period, the Kane and Ali partnership was really good, but that's that sort of early, not the best. I'm not saying they're the best, but again, was enjoyable. But yeah, no, I'm not as old. I'm more the younger one, so I'm that side of it, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Phil?
If I was to pick, just out of any of them, I'd have Kane and Keane up front. But if it was the partnership that we had at the club, then I'd say Keane and Berbatov.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so Keane and Berbatov for one, Kane and Son for the other. Brian Daigle?
For me, if this partnership had more than the time they had together, Kane and Son would still be trying to break this partnership, because without a doubt, in my lifetime, hands down, the most devastating strike force was one Jurgen the German and Teddy Sheringham. Hands down. Bang on. That partnership had absolutely everything you would want from a strike force, and if they had more than one season together, the records would have been off the goddamn chain. Jurgen Klinsmann, apart from Harry Kane, Jurgen Klinsmann was the first season I went to Tottenham a hell of a lot by myself with my friends. Jurgen Klinsmann is one of the most devastating players I've ever seen in my life. Without a doubt, it's not even a question for me. As soon as I saw Paddy had that, I was like, please have a star it, without a doubt.
I completely agree with you. In terms of partnership, first of all, the partnership for me, what trumps it for them two is they were both out and out football. They were both centre forwards. But Sheringham and Klinsmann link up was scary. Like, they had this telepathic thing. Sheringham was just delightful to watch. Klinsmann, like you say, great word. Klinsmann was absolutely clinical. Klinsmann was a world-class striker at the time. And I love it. But people who clearly never watched Jurgen Klinsmann play football, clearly never watched him. Craziness.
Why did I even say Klinsmann over Kane?
Yeah, no, that's because these people don't understand. But Scott,
what about Les Ferdinand?
Hang on. When we're saying craziness, it's so clearly Kane and Son. Why is it not close? Sorry, did I just make up Sheringham and Klinsmann? Like
numbers wise, you can say that, like Perchy said, but
one season.
I'm saying.
Granted, they only had one season, but yeah. If we're talking about partnership, maybe, Kane and Son. But I just personally liked Keane and Berbatov as a partnership. I thought they had everything.
They were class as well. They were class as well. This is the thing. The problem with this debate is it's time trumps, for some people, time trumps.
Yes, that's fair.
Everything else, right? If you look at that Sheringham and Klinsmann, that one season, if I'm not wrong, they both didn't they get like 50 between them? Or something, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think you've just got to look at it as well. You look at the Son and Kane partnership, and yes, don't get me wrong, it's a devastating partnership. I just urge people that haven't seen this game to go and watch the highlights from when we beat Liverpool 2-1 at the FA Cup.
Oh yes,
at Anfield.
Oh yes,
when they both score a goal, they both set each other up. There's a long ball for Teddy Sheringham that Jurgen Klinsmann gets on the edge of the area, just backseals it, knowing it where Sheringham is curler, and they repeat it again. They didn't even need to look at each other. I know Kane and Son could do this. The pitches were worse. They were in a world of 4-4-2s where everyone played the same formation, so it was always the same, not 3-4-3 against 4-3.
Yeah.
No one could get defenses just didn't know what to do with them. One drop deep. They honestly, for one season, go check out their stats.
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
I think the difficult.
No, I was just going to say, Billy, I just saw your comment about saying, how can you go against the Premier League records? This is exactly what we're trying to say. Is the argument is longevity. So Kane and Son have played together more than Klinsmann and Sheringham did. So my point being is, for example, Kane and Son can play 300, 400, 500 games together, and obviously they're going to have a better record than someone that's played a season together. It's just a debate. Do you know what I mean? It's not. I don't know why.
I think as well. The difficult thing
was the question actually, just for Billy, wasn't it, who is your favourite that you've seen? It wasn't
literally
who is the best. It was who is your favourite partnership.
That's why I can't say Klinsmann and Sheringham, because I wasn't old enough to appreciate it at the time. Does that make sense?
They were class. Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well, we got Klinsmann at his peak. Klinsmann was like, when people say now, like, people laugh again, Klinsmann over Kane. This wasn't about Klinsmann versus Kane, as far as I was aware. It was about partnerships. Klinsmann, for whatever anyone thinks Kane is, Klinsmann did this all over the world, won World Cups, won titles, and was for me. I'm going to call it the last world-class player we ever signed. There you go. I've said it.
Breaking news.
I've said it.
Got a spanner in the works there, like.
No, but you look at what Savva said. He may have a point. Did when we signed Gareth Bale, was he world class?
Player.
Not when he first come to us.
Well, that's what he's saying. When Jurgen Klinsmann signed,
this is the thing, right?
I'd say Luka Modric.
He wasn't world class.
He wasn't world class when we signed him.
Let me finish my question.
I thought he was class.
Name me a player that we signed. They were world class at the time of signing them.
The only one closest would have been Van der Vaart. Been the only one closest to it. We haven't signed anyone else since.
I think Van der Vaart was. I think he was that level below world class. I'm
not saying he was world class. I'm saying he was probably the closest to world class that we've signed at the moment. Yeah, that's Adams who's closest to it.
Klinsmann for me was the last player we signed who was world class, well respected in the world, and at his peak. And that man landed and just started scoring goals from day one. Just banged in goals for fun.
Oh, there's another good shout, but I think he wasn't a world class. I loved the man. Was the pitbull Edgar Davids?
Yeah, he was
on the way down.
At the time, weren't he?
I think if you're, I think again with Edgar Davids, you're putting it in the Van der Vaart bracket, because when we signed Edgar Davids, I went batshit crazy.
Oh, he was on it.
I went batshit crazy. He was. I love that player.
What about? I don't know. This might be a bit controversial, but what about Kyle Walker?
We signed him.
No. He's always had pace, though. He's always been a good defender.
Phil, you're missing the point of the question. The question is, who did we sign that was world class at the time of signing them? So, i.e., Man City went out and bought Erling Haaland, world class at the time, right? Spurs go out and buy Richarlison's, right? When did we last sign a world class player? That is the question.
Yeah, I'm clutching at straws.
You know what? I thought I was going to have an early night. I'm going to be looking at Spurs team sheets from fucking Jurgen Klinsmann today to try and answer this question. And I think you're right.
So me, the only other one we signed that was world class was Ginola.
Would you have said he was world class when we signed him?
The other one. I think he was tearing up trees at Newcastle. He was absolutely sublime. Honestly, he's one of my favourite players of all time, Ginola. He was just different. I just love him. I loved him so much.
Joe, I've never looked at him.
You know,
Listen, I think he's a genius. I think he was a footballing genius. And that one season that we won the Worthington Cup, he single-handedly got us to where we were in the league, which wasn't our greatest. But if it wasn't for him, it would have been a lot worse. And obviously to win. But
I've just seen the worst comment of the day. Proud to be a Geordie. I love you, man. But to call Carl Walker a championship defender. The man just put Vinicius Jr. in his pocket. How on earth? Oh my! Sorry, I'm moving on. And then my mate Billy's back with Romero won Serie A Defender of the Year and won the Copa America. Great.
Oh my
God!
God!
Not even try telling me Romero's world class. Do not even.
Honestly, that is you. I mean, that is putting you on a mute for like how long to say Romero is world class. Get a grip. Sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but come on.
Again, the question was when we signed them. When we signed Luka Modric, he was hardly known across the world, and Moussa Dembele was playing for Fulham, so he wasn't world class. I feel like everyone's missing the point of the question.
I've got it.
A player that when if you remember, guys, for Perchi, you might have been a tiny bit younger, but Phil and Brian, I think you're around my age, guys. When we signed Klinsmann, I think everyone remembers where they were when that news broke, and there were the pictures of Alan Sugar on his yacht with Jurgen Klinsmann, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Spurs have signed Jurgen Klinsmann." Not one signing since then. If you've gone, "Oh my, what? How did we get it?" Do you know what I mean? It's like if we went out and signed Mbappe.
What you remember then as well is back then there was no Sky Sports News. There was no regular sports channel going round the clock where you found this out. It was like CFAX or Teletext and the newspaper, and it broke. And I remember when I was at my cousin's, and when you heard it for £2 million, £2 million.
Oh,
when we first signed Lloris, what sort of bracket would you have put him in when we signed him, Pete?
He was a decent keeper, but he weren't world class.
I think a very good goalie, but for me, he's never quite had what the Manuel Neuers, the Courtois, the Oblaks. I don't think he's ever had that stature, that presence that they've had. Big up, Barry. Jacob has said, "What's your agenda with Romero and Bentancur?" I haven't even mentioned Bentancur's name, have I? I don't have an agenda with Romero. I just don't think he's as good as everyone makes out. That's all it is.
Well, so I had a huge argument with someone a few months ago because I was trying to say how bad we are as a club right now. And someone said to this guy really was trying to lay into me. He goes, "Brian, you're so stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. We have a World Cup winner in our squad." And I was like, "Spurs win the World Cup?" I didn't know Spurs was a country. Is that what we've become now? We have a World Cup winner. He played brilliantly with Argentina because he's with world-class players. Hugo Lloris won the World Cup.
And you'd see exactly the same at Tottenham if you had world-class defenders with him.
Look, you know what Hugo Lloris in the World Cup for France this year or last year, was incredible for France. Did really, really well for them. Comes back to Spurs, clanger, because he's got a shit defence in front of him.
But David,
as well.
Sorry, Sam.
Go on.
Oh, just a quick one. It's quite funny. You know when he said, "Oh, World Cup winner, Hugo Lloris." Yeah, great, magic. Remember what he did in that final? By the way, that final was all because of Mbappe basically winning. Do you remember what Hugo Lloris did in that final? By the way, when he let the ball roll under his leg, basically. Luckily, they were already 4-2 up, or as it was 4-1 up, and the game was already over. But he made
the thing that makes me laugh, Perchi. First and foremost, I think there's a huge difference between playing for your country for 7 games to win a tournament versus what we see over a sample size of an entire season, right? Mm-hmm. And look, I don't. By the way, I feel like it's turned into me not liking Romero. I don't dislike Romero. I just think he gets so many free passes for the bad things he does, and everyone just blames it on the other defenders. But the other defenders, as I keep saying, don't make him run out and smash people in the air for no reason and give away fouls and give away goals. That's him. That's his game. Now, can somebody knock that out of him? Possibly, right? Possibly they can. But he's not 20. He's not 19. And he's not learning. For me, he's doing it every single game. Now, we talked about this earlier, actually, right? You can look at it one of two ways. We keep saying put him with better players and he's better. Sure, you could say that of any footballer, right? But the better players stand out. Kane is in a really bad team. That man stands out. That man stands out head and shoulders above everyone else. When I watch Romero is making so many mistakes, so many rash tackles, but I feel like the opinion of defenders has changed now from being if they're comfortable on the ball, we think they're good. He's very good on the ball. He's very good at the long passes. He's good at bringing it out.
Yeah.
My problem is his positioning is woeful, like dreadful. He's crap in the air. I don't care what anyone says. He's not good in the air, and he's rash. And one of the first things you learn, Brian, right? At that, one of the first things you learn from a young age, coaching at any level, is don't dive in.
Yeah.
And this man dives in 5-6 times a game. And the fans go, oh, I love that. It's passion. No, it's not. It's idiocy. You're giving away yellow cards. You're giving away free kicks on the edge of the box. Stay on your feet. That's the,
But this
is exactly. Hang on, Perchy. I'm on a rant, right? This is exactly what I mean. I love him for his passion and aggressive defender, right? His passion and his aggressive defending is what lost us the game against Villa. His passion and aggressive defending is what got him sent off against Man City. His passion and aggressive defending is what conceded 2 of the goals against Newcastle, and then the goal for Jadon Sancho when he went in like that. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's a good player, but he is well overrated by our fan base, and I don't know why he gets off so lightly.
I was going to say, just to follow up on that, this is exactly, and Billy's comment here, you're aiming your anger at the wrong person, Savva. This is exactly the point that I think we're trying to make here. So basically what you're saying is because we've got worse defenders, we can't criticize him. No. He should be criticized because he's making as many mistakes. And this is the highlighted point I wanted to make. If the mistakes he made were Eric Dyer, Ben Davis, Davinson Sanchez, Japhet Tanganga, it doesn't matter which one of them. You could pick one of them. You'd all be going crazy. Get him out of my club. But because it's Romero, he gets away scot-free. And for me, I can't stand it. If he's the best defender that we have, why can't he lead by example? He can't. And so he said, if you put Van Dijk next to Eric Dyer, he would make the same mistakes. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. I think Romero gets away scot-free at this club, man. It annoys me.
He's still got time on his hands, I think. I think Romero.
But that's the point. I think he can become a very good defender.
Yeah.
But we have fans that laud him up as if he's like the next coming of Maldini, and it does my head in.
Because you know what? I've been wanting to talk with Savva about Romero because I was watching your debate with Jacob online on the other. I think it was on Henry Wright's show or on your show, whatever it was. And I have to say I'm more Team Savva. And
gotta be Team Savva. The only way to be.
The only reason I say that Romero last season was superb. This season not so much, but he has got. I do listen. I get what people are saying. I love his aggression. I love his shit. That's not right now. What he has needed is he needs a disciplinary. He needs another world-class defender, or not world-class, a very good defender next to him that complements what he does. Because what he's been doing right now with the 2 defenders he's playing alongside is jeopardizing a lot of what we're doing. On his day, Romero was great against Crystal Palace. He weren't rash. He weren't going in. He was the best defender. That was like the Romero last season. Then, like Savva says, against Aston Villa, he went charging in like a bull in a china shop. He's got I love what he can bring. I love that he's diehard. He's got to rein it in. There's times you do it. I play when I'm on We Are Tottenham TV. I play Romero yellow card bingo to see who gets the right minute that he gets booked in, because you know it's coming. He needs to calm down on his discipline. If he had something, if Romero had Ledley King next to him in Ledley King's heyday, he'd be world class.
Yeah.
He would have a partner.
I'm just about to say that Ledley King would be the perfect partner.
Savva, when I say this, let me finish. When I say this, listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying if he had the time that Michael Dawson had with Ledley King, and they built up a partnership, you're probably looking like Vidic for but you're looking like a very sturdy. I'm not saying the replica of Vidic and Ferdinand. I'm saying you'd have two defenders that would be like Toby and Yan.
They complement each other.
Ledley King made everyone better. It didn't matter who it was, they went up levels next to him.
Of course, but my point is this. Top players stand out in and amongst bad players. Yeah?
Yep, I'm with you on that.
And Romero this season hasn't.
This season's been awful.
Hang on, we can blame the players around him, right? Sure. But I'm seeing him make just as many mistakes as some of these other players. But yet when you point them out, it's not his fault. Well, it is. What he did against Aston Villa was absolutely ridiculous. How are we blaming what he did against Aston Villa on the players around him? And somebody made a great point in the chat just now. Somebody said he's a hero defender. Every time he makes a tackle, it's almost as though he's the last-ditch man and feels like he's got to be a hero and jump in. Good defenders don't do that. Good defenders defend. They stay on their feet. They see the danger. But, Brian, what I liken it to is, you know, when you're 5 or 6 and you're in the playground, right? And the PE teacher throws the ball in and everyone's like attracted to it like a fly on shit. Kids don't understand where they're playing. When Romero sees that ball, he just goes, right, I'm diving in. And he goes running out 10, 15 yards outside the area, clatters someone, and fans go, I love that aggression. Why? That's not good defending.
You see, do you know who I think would be the perfect partner for Romero? And I mean perfect. Joachim Andersen.
Yep.
I think he would be.
Yeah, I
would think if you look at that, you put him, Joachim Andersen's a left-footed player. He's cultured. He can say, right, listen, I'll be the calm, sturdy one. You can do this, but we do this together. When one go, I think the two of them together, not saying that they would be world class, and I have to say big up to Foxy, because she said what I was trying to say. I think Ledley King next to in Foxy's got exactly what Foxy said is what I agreed with and what I was trying to get across. But yeah, you put a Joachim Andersen, you've got to complement. When you get two defenders, they can't be like for like. They've got to have
agreed
for each other. Like Toby and Yan, like King and Dawson, like with Vidic and Ferdinand. You look at even I'll go back. One of the greatest Premier League defenses I saw at one point was Sammy Hippier and Honcho. Honcho weren't brilliant by himself. Put him next to Sammy Hippier, who I thought was absolutely immense. They were great together.
Ferdinand and Terry was the perfect partnership for me in the Prem, and that's what you got.
I agree, but he's getting off scot-free for the things he does wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Not the shape.
You're right.
Right. When we talk about shape and the players not holding shape alongside him, cool. But equally, if I was looking at it from the other side, I could say, hang on, a lot of this is his fault, i.e. the Aston Villa goal. He runs out 15 yards from goal, clatters Watkins, I think it was. The ball gets spread. They whip it into the box. He's not in the central area of the penalty area where he's meant to be defending. They score, right? That's got nothing to do with the players around him. That's to do with him not having a brain to say, I don't need to rush out there, right? And the thing is, he's not learning. He's not learning from it. It's every game he goes diving in. And somebody made a great point. Said, if his name was Roland and he was from Enfield, no one would be lauding him up this much.
Agreed.
For me, he's had a crap season. I'm going to say it. I'm not letting him off because he won a World Cup. I don't think they won the World Cup because of Christian Romero. They won the World Cup because Lionel Messi's a goddamn genius.
But this is the thing. And big up Jacob, love you. I know you're in the chat. Top good man.
Oh no,
good man.
Billy, please don't clip me on my own channel. Ooh.
Oh, here we go. But yeah. So what he said he gets away, and then when I say he does get away scot-free, and the reason why I say that is because the reason why I say he gets off scot-free is because whenever Romero makes a mistake, the excuse is always the same. He has to do it because he's playing with bad players around him.
Agreed.
Why is it? Why can't he be a good defender with bad players around him? Why does it all of a sudden he's bad because of bad players around him? It doesn't work in any other pitch. Does that mean that we give excuses for? It's just, for me, I find it as an excuse to just basically because he's the best of the rest, he gets away scot-free. That's what I mean by it. We don't go. No one really go. I never hear it. I never hear it on social media or anything. I never hear go. Romero was crap today, but I always see Dyer was crap. Davis was crap all the time. Why can't both things be right? You can have Romero can be a player that in the future can be good, but be shit on the day.
See, two comments I want to bring up. One, this one makes me laugh. How can he not try to be a hero? What kind of rationale is that to bash someone for giving a damn? Right, this isn't the playground. It's not about bashing him for giving a damn. If he gave a damn, he'd defend and do his job, not go diving in. This is the thing. We can't turn around and say, hang on, Phil, I've got another comment I need to read as well.
Cool.
We can't say somebody's something bad, but then we go, oh, but he gave a damn. Okay, Richarlison gives a damn. Richarlison tries hard. He's just not very good. So
Romero is, I was going to say, there you go.
Hang on, and this one, bang on. People don't talk about this. He got himself sent off versus City. The next game, he was suspended. We then let him 4 goals to Leicester.
Yep,
right?
Agreed.
His rashness cost us. Right?
I think what it is, I think he's got more credit in the bank than any of the other defenders that we have. I think that's what.
Based on what?
Based on what?
Well, he's better than Dyer. He's better than Dyer. He's better than Sanchez. He's by far the best defenders that we have, and I think that's why he gets so much credit in the bank, and that's why he can do no wrong. Is because he is the only defender we have. You know,
is
that's why he gets a pass. Well, who's better than him? Who's better than him? But who's better than him in the squad?
What's he done better than anyone else this season, though?
Well, it's not just this season, is it? It's his time at Tottenham Hotspur, isn't it? As a whole, you know, that's what he wants.
I'm going to say,
I don't think he's done anything great.
I believe there's enough credit in the bank there for him to stay on, you know, for a good couple of seasons.
Okay, what are you basing the credit? Genuine, I want to know what is the basis of the credit, because you could. Some people, when you say credit in the bank, Harry Kane for me has credit in the bank because he scores goals week in, week out. If he has a bad game, he has credit in the bank.
But you're forgetting
what credit does Romero have?
You're forgetting some of the performances that he's had. He's had some worldy performances. Granted, this season he hasn't had a great season this season. But when he first come, he was a good defender. You know.
Okay,
but give him time. That's all I'm saying. Give him time.
Palmer's got a good point here, isn't it? Every Royal fan knows Romero is mediocre. Now, I'll flip the question. Does Romero get into any team above us in the league? Any team that is above us in the league, does he get into?
No.
Does he get into Man City? No. Does he get into Arsenal? No.
He doesn't get into Man City's B team.
Does he get into Newcastle? No. Does he get into Man United?
Brighton, no?
Would you over Lewis Dunk?
You wouldn't have Romero and Dunk. You wouldn't have them too, no.
Oh,
no, Brighton can defend. No,
you would have Webster over Romero.
Yeah,
I don't see Webster.
I think Romero, and do you know what it is? I don't think he gets into any team above us in the league. Honestly, I don't think. I think.
Oh, I disagree.
I'll give you a crumb and say maybe Brighton, but apart from that, I can't see anyone else above us. Genuinely, like teams actually defend.
You know what doesn't help his cause this season is the fact that we've conceded our most goals in a Premier League season.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Whilst playing defensive football. Whilst playing defensive football. These are stats you've got to look at. Do I see where the love for him comes? Do I see why people attach to him and his diehard? Yeah, I see all that. He's not had a good season. He really hasn't.
I was going to say.
I'm not disputing that. He's had a great season, but I still think there's a good defender in there if you get the right partner with him.
Maybe down the line there is definitely. I'm not, but the thing is I've got.
We've not once said sell him. No.
I think we have to keep Romero, but I think, but I judge it on what I see. And for me, and Jacob, I love you, mate, but you said that Liverpool would have Romero. Trust me, Liverpool fans would not want a Romero in their back line. Trust me. Absolutely. Konate and Van Dijk are miles better than him.
Do you know what, Perchy? I do a lot of streaming nowadays with fans from other channels.
Yeah.
Right? And they all say the same thing. Whenever we have the Romero discussion, they're all like, he's okay, right? But as Spurs fans, we really overrate. This is my point. Yeah. People are saying, "Oh, I'll clip this and you'll see." I want Romero to be a good defender.
Hey, me too.
I want him to be a good defender, right? I'm not saying sell the guy. The point I'm trying to make is, if we are going to call out Sanchez for making mistakes, if we're going to call out Eric Dyer for turning his back on a goal,
exactly.
When Romero does these things, I'm going to point that out as well. And I don't buy, sorry, Phil, I don't buy any of this credit in the bank nonsense. These are footballers that are paid hundreds of thousands of pounds. I don't care what you did last season. I don't care. I thought he was good last year. Still, there was a lot of recklessness in his game. I remember the game he got sent off last year. Again, it was clattering people for no reason at all, right? But at the end of the day, I will call it out. If he's bad, I'll say he's bad. The same way that we're not allowed to do it about Kulu. You're not allowed to do it about Son. There's certain players that seem so protected.
Yep.
And I don't know why. I just, like, somebody messaged me yesterday. He went, "Oh my God, there you go. Romero didn't play. We conceded 3. It's like, hang on, Romero played the other week. We conceded 6. Romero played 3 Southampton. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can fit whatever narrative you want. But at the end of the day, just because he's won a World Cup, we can all name a lot of players that have won World Cups that you go, yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
Who could name the Argentina defense from the World Cup?
Martinez.
Wasn't it Montiel at right back?
Well, they changed their fullbacks nearly every game from
Acuna, was it? Acuna left back. And then Montiel,
This is the thing. If we're going to go with that narrative, who remembers when Liverpool won the Champions League and they had, what's his name?
Sami Hyypiä? Oh, yeah. I thought you were about that.
They had Jimmy Traore at left back.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right, Otamendi. This is Otamendi that just won the World Cup as well, by the way, who people were laughing and saying he's finished in the Premier League a few years back.
Yeah.
Has gone to Benfica, I think. So what we're now saying that Otamendi's it's listen, decent footballer, but he's got to show something for me. Like, I don't know where he to go to your point, Archie. I don't know where he gets in. Other fans don't rate him like we do. I think he's a 6.5, 7 out of 10 footballer. Every now and then he has a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Sorry, just
it's sad, but
there's room for improvement there, isn't there? There's room for improvement.
There's a lot of room.
A lot of room. I don't know.
Sorry, Phil, tell me what he's good at. Hang on, Phil, tell me what he's good at. Give me 5 things he's good at.
He's got pace. He's got pace. I believe that
what's he good at as a defender?
He's got no. I'm just saying he's good at tackling. I think he's a good tackler of the ball. He's aggressive, which he should have as a defender. You should have that aggressive trait as a defender. There's a lot of improvement that needs to be in his game. There is, but he's 23, 24, Savva. So, in the next couple of years, you'll see a much better Romero once we get these players that we need in these certain positions. So give him time. That's all I'm saying. Give him time, man.
No, right. See, this is it. People like me who tell the truth now get told give him time. All of you lot that are hyping him up, why don't you wait until he lives up to the hype before you praise him?
I'm not saying he's a 9 out of 10. I do believe he's like a 7 at this moment in time. I do believe that. But I think he can get better. I think he can get better.
He can get better. But before we all start going all crazy and hella for him, why can't we just go, you know what? He's an okay defender, but it's a bit rash. But
the same thing people have done for Kulu.
Agreed, yeah. I haven't massively bigged him up. I'm just saying he's had an underwhelming season, but he can get better as a defender, and I think he is the best defender we have at the club.
Yeah, it's not saying a lot, but
I was just saying a lot,
but there's room for improvement there. That's all I'm saying.
But the thing is though, but I think this is room
for improvement. He can't head the ball. He's atrocious in the air. He's rash. His positioning isn't great, and he constantly leaves the rest of the team exposed because he runs out into the midfield. And that's the thing. Whenever I say 21, this is what's his 5 best attributes as a defender. The first thing people have come up with, like you said there, is he's quick. All right, but can he defend? Listen, I'm holding my bets on this guy because I've seen many a player come in, get way too much praise from our fans. Then when they drop off, we wonder why. And same with Kulu.
Do you know who Romero reminds me of? Do you know who Romero reminds me of? He's a centre-half version of Eric Lamela at this football club. Everyone loved Eric Lamela, but he did absolutely nothing at Spurs. I thought he was average and stuff. But because he was a bit of a shithouse and he started clattering people and he got himself yellow carded and all that lot. I remember people went absolutely crazy for Eric Lamela when he did that Rabona goal against Arsenal. Everyone seems to forget that he got himself sent off in that game. Do you sort of see what I'm saying? Is everyone goes about how amazing he was because he did all this, that, and the other. I'm sitting there going, I see the similarities of Romero, where he's all of a sudden going to become a crowd favourite because he clatters people. I want my defender to defend properly.
Bang on. Oh, Perchy, absolutely. By the way, he is 25, right? People are talking about him like he's 19 years of age. He's 25. Anyway, listen, that is enough Romero talk for today.
Good debate.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to the person who said they're going to smash my face in. Oh man, Travel Lodge. Come find me, man.
Come on, come on, people.
Yeah,
it's just football, man.
Anyway,
be nice.
Hang on, we've got someone else. Let's not forget Savva cheated on his married wife. Is my wife married or my married?
Wait, what?
My married wife. Oh God, I better show her this message. Anyway, but I think we started to get some silly people in now, so I think this is probably a good time to end the show. But listen, Phil, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be on with you guys, and yeah. Let's hope Tottenham get to where we want them to be, eh?
Listen, that's what all this is about, right? I'd love Spurs to come out next year. I'd love Kulu to be smashing in 15 goals and 15 assists. I'd love Romero to be great. I'd love new players to come in and hit the ground running. But hey, it's a football debate channel, right? If we don't debate these things, what's the point?
Exactly.
Anyway, Brian, thanks for coming on, dude. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure, brother.
Too long.
Way too long, mate.
Perchy, as always, as a regular. Listen, everybody, please go and follow Brian Daigle on Tottenham on Tour. Please follow Perchy on the Perchy TV. Help him get to his targets. And please subscribe to Football Heritage TV as we try and hunt down 5,500. So, guys, girls, thank you very much. Play you a little video to see you out, and thank you very much.
Come on, you Spurs.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some fiddler on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. It's 4.